Welcome to the YouTube Foul Play YouTube channel.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to number 41, I think we're at, or 42, wherever we're at. Anyway, welcome, everybody, and glad you could join us this evening. We got some new FOIA material for you. Thanks to Sunshine Christina. She's been after this Gregory Allen stuff pretty hard for a while, and it's taken a while to get a lot of this stuff. This is new material, and there's some things here that absolutely just, I like, what? Seriously, it's crazy when you hear what they did. We don't know everything yet, but we know a lot more than we did. It's crazy what all they did and how it went down. So hope everyone's doing okay. And before we get started here, I'll let everyone in channel here with us on Discord say hello. And anybody is welcome to come and join us here on the open mic on our Discord. It's open, so you're welcome to come and join the conversation. So anyway, Alice, you say hi?
Hi everyone in chat. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Linda?
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming.
And Mr. Ventriloquist voice changer, Jeff Jones. How's it going?
Hey, how are you guys doing tonight?
And there's Jinx. What's going on, Jinx?
Hello, peoples.
Lady Neverly.
Hello, everybody.
Nosy.
Hi.
Sunshine Christina.
Hi, everyone.
And Dr. Silkman. Thanks for coming.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone.
Okay. Before we get going, I guess I should, for anyone, I'm going to guess that, potentially there's some new people out there that really don't have much background or know too much about Gregory Allen. Those of us that have been around, though, are well aware of Mr. Gregory Allen, and you're going to become well more acquainted with him before we're done tonight. Greg Allen is a guy that he was born in Minnesota, but he moved around a lot, and you're going to see that too. But he really first came on our radar a long time ago, and because of his interaction in and around Manitowoc and that region, he literally had his way. He also was a suspect in a homicide in North Carolina. And given what I know Christina probably agrees with me as well, given his history of what we see, he probably did kill that girl, but I guess they couldn't prove it. They had to drop it. But nonetheless, he came on scene in Manitowoc, I guess late 70s, early 80s. To keep in mind that this guy moved around a lot, and we'll get more about that later. But as we all, those of us that look into this true crime stuff, we see these serial rapists, serial killers, serial whatever. They like to move location and move back, and they move around and here and there. And this guy definitely did that. Nonetheless, of course, the 85 case with Stephen Avery and Penny Bernstein happened, and of course, Avery was wrongfully convicted of that rape and spent 12 extra years in prison that he should have never spent. And ultimately, they found out that Gregory Allen was the culprit. Well, by the time they found out, he was already in jail, in prison, for another assault, rape. I don't know exactly. I don't remember all the exact charges, but I know he assaulted at least two others, and they caught him on the one. And that's the reason he ended up with, correct me here, guys, if I'm wrong, 60 years. Is that right? Does that sound right?
That's right.
So that's the reason he ended up with 60 years in Wisconsin penitentiary. So with that said, that's kind of catches you up to, the basic stuff of where we were. And, but Christina got this, because she got this in her teeth and I guess saw some other things, and it made her question. And she's really good about questioning and just not taking what is in a report for granted. She picks at it and she pulls, and she's done a hell of a lot of legwork on this, and I mean a hell of a lot. So what I'm going to do, we're first going to start out with. Let's start this part here again. The 2005 depositions. You have to understand what Glenn and Kelly were part of what they were after. Not all of it, but a good portion of it was information about Gregory Allen and what these people that worked in and around the departments knew and what they said. Because just about every deposition that you read, there is information about Gregory Allen. There are questions anyway. I pulled up 6 depositions and opened them. Of the 6, 5 of them have more than just a little bit. One that I opened, Kelly asked the person, about if he had any information or if he'd saved any information. He's like, no, I don't have anything, and I don't really recall anything. For that was the shortest one that I read. There's other ones that we're not gonna read the entire deposition. Don't think that, because we're not. We have a lot of documents to get through, but some of these I'm going to read portions of to give you some idea of kind of where we're headed with this. So the first one, let me get over here to it. The first I'm going to pull up is going to be Brenda Peterson. And we also looked at who gave depositions in and around the August, September timeframe, and there's several. So
It's important to understand that Glenn and Kelly were building and building and building, and they were stacking each deposition on top of each deposition and narrowing it down and putting everyone in a room who knew what they knew about Gregory Allen, about the Penny Bernstein assault, about Stephen Avery not being guilty, and that Dennis Vogel had created this alibi for him. They knew it all. I don't know what documentation they had, but you can tell that they had done their homework and they were going to get Vogel and Kasurek on the stand or in the deposition room, and they were going to have to answer some very tough questions.
Absolutely. So this first one, Brenda Peterson, this interview took place, let's see here, I think it's, went too far. Yeah, hers is on August 25th, 05. So I'm going to skip down here. You can see a photograph of Gregory Allen. A lot of these in the depositions, you'll see this photograph of Gregory Allen in 1986. So anyway, he starts off here. Okay, let me just ask you some questions. Do you know that there are some memo books that contain Stephen Avery and or Gregory Allen in connection with a Penny Bernstein matter? And there's objections, and you see that a lot too, because they're trying to, these lawyers, especially the Manitowoc lawyers, they don't want anything to do with it. Anyway, you can answer some books. Yeah, no. Question: How about memos? More objections. Answer: Can you be more specific? Memos as to question. Sure. Let me just put that in front of you, and you can tell me. Would you tell me, please, what documents you think exist that fall within the language set forth there? And then more objections, and then answer. Brenda Peterson. All I would be aware of is that's in there for sure is police reports from the sheriff's department, subpoenas probably for hearings, and any notes I would have made or letters that I would sent to the victim, Ms. Bernstein. Did you make any notes about the Bernstein sexual assault case? Answer: probably. Question: And did you have correspondence and exchange with Ms. Bernstein about the case? Answer: yes. Question: Did you make any notes with respecting Gregory Allen in any way? Answer: no. So let's move on to the next entry for Allen. We're down to page 28. Question: do you have any dealings of any kind with Judy Dvorak about the assault on Miss Bernstein, Stephen Avery, or Gregory Allen? Answer: can you repeat that? Sure. Have you had any discussions with Judy Dvorak at any time about the assault on Miss Bernstein and or Stephen Avery and or Gregory Allen? Answer: yes. Question: about how many such conversations? Answer: 1. Question: and when and where did that take place approximately? Answer: at the preliminary hearing. Question: and was it just before the preliminary hearing? Answer: it was during the preliminary hearing. Question: what was the context in which you had the conversation? Where were you, and what were you talking about? Answer: we were outside in the hall. Question: Answer: and I advised her, talking about Dvorak, to stop speaking with witnesses regarding their testimony. Question: with which witnesses was she speaking, to your knowledge? Answer: I believe it would have been Penny. Question: anybody else? So she's saying that Dvorak has been talking to Penny Bernstein about her testimony. Question: anybody else? Answer: not that I recall. Question: why did you give her that advice? Answer: because that's not one of our office's standard rules. We do not want them coaching witnesses. Question: and was that something you feared was being done by Ms. Dvorak? Answer: I believe it may have been. So let's skip again here. I know there's more here that we want to cover. Did you tell him? And did you tell him? Okay, I believe we're talking to Vogel. And did you tell him that you had always thought that Gregory Allen was the correct suspect? Answer: I told him that I believed that from the beginning that it was Greg Allen. Question: and what did he say to that, in response to that? Answer: I don't recall. Question: did he tell you anything about the conversations that had gone on between him and other detectives about it being someone other than Stephen Avery who had committed the crime? He's apparently not talking about Vogel. Answer: no. Question: okay, anything else that you remember about that second conversation with Kalansik? This is another one that they talked about here too. Answer: no. Question: okay, and was there a third discussion or a third occasion that you talked with Kalansik about this case after Stephen Avery was exonerated? Answer: I think that would have been the night of the balloon lift. Question: okay, and you've already told me everything you remember? Answer: correct. Question: okay, and how about the fourth occasion? Answer: it probably was only those 3. Okay, I think. Okay, let's go to this next possible entry here. Okay. I think we're good there. Conversation. Yeah, this Alkalonzik, that's a police officer. I think he was actually a detective, but I can't remember for sure.
I think he's a Manitowoc Police Department detective.
Yeah, that sounds correct.
I think he was one of the guys that was surveilling. He was hard on Gregory Allen, like trying to get him off the streets.
Page 48. Question: you had no conversation about, did you have any conversation with Larry Conrad about Gregory Allen during that period of time? Answer: no. Question: did you have any conversation with Larry Conrad about the way in which Tom Kasork was conducting the management of the department? Answer: no. Question: do you have any conversation with Larry Conrad about any professional relationships he may have had with Tom Bergner? Answer: no. And remember, Bergner and another city official went and told Kasork about Gregory Allen. They knew all about this guy. There's no doubt about it. And he can say whatever he wants, but he did. Let's see. I think. And what was it you were telling me there earlier that, Christina, that Brenda Peterson and Conrad had.
Yeah, Brenda Peterson and Conrad were dating. It's in her deposition. I think it's right before you started talking about Conrad.
Yeah.
I think they discussed that. And the only other thing I want to make sure that we mentioned about Peterson's deposition is she states in there that she had seen Gregory Allen on at least 3 occasions prior to the Penny Bernstein assault visiting the DA's office. So this is a criminal under criminal charges, visiting the prosecuting attorney in his case and being seen by him. Okay. This is before the letter. So, I mean, the gall of this guy, right? The friggin' cojones of this guy thinking he can go to the DA's office and have a meeting, and then has a meeting, you know, on at least 3 occasions.
Right.
That is just unheard of.
Okay, this next section is on page 50. We'll read a little bit of this here. Do you know whether prior to receiving the information about Stephen Avery having been exonerated on about September 10th of 2003, that during the period of time that Mr. Rohr was serving as district attorney of Manitowoc County, that you had expressed to him your opinion about the fact that Stephen Avery was not the guy who had assaulted Penny Bernstein, but that it was Gregory Allen? Answer, that's a long question. Can you? Sure. I'm sorry. Here's what I'm trying to get at. Whether from the time Mark Rohr took office until you first found out that Stephen Avery had been exonerated, you had any conversations, direct or indirect, so that Mark Rohr would have knowledge of your opinion about the case at the time that he received the information. And it's going to be, looks like there's some confusion. And she's trying to clear it up here. And she says, ultimately, she says no. She didn't have any conversations with Rohr. Question, okay, so as far as you know, at least in terms of it coming from you, Mark Rohr didn't know anything about your feelings concerning the case when, in September of 2003, you found out that Avery had been exonerated. Answer, yes. I never talked to Mark Rohr prior. Okay. Question, did he call you in to discuss the case when he found out that Avery had been exonerated, or did you go to him? She says, answer, neither. Question, how did it come to pass that the two of you talked about it? Answer, we didn't separately. I believe he just informed the office as a whole. And we talked about that the other day because that's when Rohr said he made that announcement to the entire office. Remember, Brenda Peterson works in the DA's office, so there's no confusion there. Question, how did he do that? And answer, I don't recall. I don't think there's really anything else here. Let's skip on down. I want to get into reading the entire deposition. Page 51. Okay, page 53. Question, was it based on your knowledge of Stephen Avery and Gregory Allen? I don't know what they're talking about here. I've kind of jumped ahead of here. Stephen Avery. And she answers yes. Question, was it based on your physical observations of Stephen Avery and Gregory Allen? Answer, not on Stephen Avery's, but on Greg Allen's. Question, was it based on your knowledge of Gregory Allen's MO? Objection. You can answer. Answer, I felt that way, yes. So this goes back to what we've known in the past, that at least as we stand right now, she felt like that Allen was the one that committed the crime against Penny, PB, not Avery. And they had told Bogle that. So they're, again, they're trying to elicit information from these people. Again, not just these office people, but pretty much everyone that gave a deposition about what they knew about Allen. And had that information been imparted to Bogle, Kosoric, and the various authorities. I'm trying to find this other section that we talked about before, Christina.
Oh, about the alibi, or about
no, about the meetings. Isn't that in here?
It's in here. Put
Or-
put Allen in meeting and see if that brings it up real quick. I saved it in a PNG.
That's
Look
okay.
at me, I'm computer savvy.
Yeah, look at you go.
But yeah, y'all are teaching me. Let me see.
Let me just
find real quick. And fix this. Search.
Yeah, it's not going to pull it up.
Meetings.
Let me just try meeting.
Yeah.
And see if we can get to it quicker.
Vogel letter, Vogel line, Vogel letter, council ladies. Let me try meeting. No.
I didn't look this thing up specifically for these meetings.
Yeah. It's try. I don't. Hold on. I'm trying to find it. Pictures.
Question. Did you hear anything? Did you hear her say anything to Vogel in the meeting that the three of you had with Vogel? I don't think that's it. Well, we as a group questioned whether Allen's alibi was checked. No, that's not what we're talking.
It's around there, but
yeah, hers is really long. I don't want to spend a lot more time on it.
Yeah,
but basically, go ahead and tell everybody what. Go ahead and tell everybody what we're talking about.
Okay, so Brenda Peterson basically says that she knew Allen because he had come to the DA's office. Is that what you want me to talk about, or you want me to tell them why we're here?
Yeah.
So she knew Allen because Allen had come to the office on at least 3 occasions and visited the DA. And she also knew Allen because of his victims, because she is the victim's advocate for the Manitowoc County DA's office. Yeah. So when someone is harmed, when someone is assaulted, she is their voice in the courtroom. Or she helps them, through the process, gets them, any kind of assistance, which I don't think they had much back then, and things like that. And she also knew Stephen from his crimes, right? Because she had dealt with Sandra Morris, and she always knew it was Allen. Well, she and the other 2 ladies go to Allen go to Vogel and say, hey, look, this is, Gregory Allen did this crime, not Stephen Avery. And Gregory and Dennis Vogel, to shut them up, said that he had called, that Gregory Allen was on probation in Door County, and he had called his probation officer, and Gregory Allen was with him that day or in Door County that day. So it could not have been Gregory Allen that assaulted Penny Bernstein because he wasn't in the county.
Right.
We all know that's a bald-faced lie. Because why? Because he actually did. So this is a man who, to shut people up, will lie for a prolific serial assaulter, sexual abuser, and assaulter of women. Who
and the question surrounding that is, why would he do that?
Yeah, and who also they all know is the suspect in a murder in North Carolina. So he's lying for a murdering rapist.
Yeah.
Why?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people think, well, maybe he was a snitch for the police, a confidential informant. But I was talking to Disco about this earlier, and it dawned on me. Then the police would be protecting him, not the DA's office. But the police are trying to get him arrested and off the streets.
Well, the
And
city
they
police
do
are the
well.
city.
Yeah.
The city police is.
Yeah, but if he was a snitch for the sheriff's office and the police department would have talked about it. You know what I mean?
One would think.
No, yeah. I mean, you would think, but I'm telling you, he's not a snitch. I mean, he might have snitched, but we also know that Gregory Allen is a prolific crackhead, and crackheads are not reliable for anything.
No,
You know,
but I swear it seems like more often than not, they're used as CIs because they know that the cops got something on them, right? So they bring them all kinds of information. Anyway.
Yeah, but we have no cases where he's doing anything. I mean, we do know that Manitowoc County has a history of, according to the locals, of being really sketchy about their snitches and things and their drug task force. There's a lot of rumors. We don't have any proof. So, I mean, it's possible, but I personally believe that Gregory Allen is the bastard child of someone high up or the brother or something. Maybe he's Peg Lottenslider's bastard child for all I know. But it
could be he could be a bastard child of a relationship of one of them, somebody in
yes.
in authority, possible.
Mm-hmm. I have no proof of it, but if anyone knows who his parents are, please get a hold of me.
And we don't, Suzanne and I, or Christine and I don't say that lightly because, as you'll see as we go along here.
Gregory Allen's parents?
Yes, yeah. His mom and his dad.
Well, not only that, maybe not only that, maybe not even necessarily his parents, but any other familiar relation.
Yeah. I'll take any family member, any blood family member. Just give me a jumping point, man.
But as you guys as we go further into this, you're going to understand why we would say this because, damn. Anyway.
His father's name is Paul Edward Allen. His mother's name is Betty Lou Basinger. He has a brother named Jerome.
Beauty?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Allen.
Well, I was.
Jerome B. Allen, but no, not Beauty.
I know.
Not from the same area.
We have a question from Sherry. She says, does anyone know, was there a Jost that was supposed to be watching Allen when he committed the rape, and another Jost that, we moved, the Jost that supposedly found the first bone whose sister was dating Mike H.
Jason Jost's sister is not Stephanie Jost, the one that married Michael Halbach. There is no relationship whatsoever there unless it's way in the old.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, let's move on to this next deposition, and we'll just get through. This is Beverly Badker. I think I said this is another one that works there in the office, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she does.
I've typed Greg back in here, so again, there's the photograph. Same thing we saw before. This looks like page 12. We're getting to it here. Question: did he tell you anything about the fact that DNA evidence also showed that Gregory Allen was the person who assaulted Miss PB? Answer: later, like maybe the next day. Question: all right. When Mark Rohr told you that you, on the first occasion about Stephen Avery having been exonerated, did he say anything? Did he say anything to him? Answer: I was shocked. I was shocked. Question: about what, if anything, did you say to him? Answer: I really don't recall. I know we had talked about the possibility, that it could have been someone else. And I guess I was just surprised. And I think I told him that. Question: you don't think you don't think you told him that? Answer: I did tell him that I was surprised, but it was unbelievable. Question: when you just a moment ago said we had talked about the possibility that it could be another, who's the we that you're referring to? Answer: when Mark talked to me like the next day or the day after, he explained that someone else was responsible, which the DNA proved. And I said that I was shocked, but that's what we had talked about initially, way in the beginning of the case. Question and answer, that we felt it might have been Greg Allen. Question, you felt it might have been who? Answer, Greg Allen. Question, Greg Allen. And who was the we that you're referring to when you say we had talked about it at the beginning of the case? Answer, just the girls in the office, basically opinions. So here we go. She says, he asked again, who's we? Jill, Brenda, and myself. So there's three there in the office that likely the ones that we've known about for a long time. So let's skip on down here, see if there's anything else. Okay. Question. Okay, this is page 19. Looks like. Okay, during that year and a half that he had been in the office, your thought is that he had overheard you and Brenda talking about Stephen Avery not having been the man who assaulted PB, but instead it was Greg Allen, and that's why he chose to speak with the two of you in September after Stephen got exonerated. Objections, and she says yes. Let's skip on. I think we got the gist of what I wanted to find here anyway. Anything you remember specifically about Badker, Christina, or anyone else?
No.
I don't know. I think she's just another one that. Okay, let's move on to Mr. Conrad. This is the last deposition that we're going to look at. Now this one.
You know what's important to mention about Brenda Peterson's deposition? She also states in there that this is the only case in which she was not allowed to be in the meetings with the DA and the victim, and Kosurik was in there in her place.
Wow.
She was kept out of any meeting with the victim.
That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy because she's the advocate.
That's right. And she was not allowed in those meetings. Isn't that insane? That's in her deposition as well.
And it's also, I think, a little important to mention that hers is the longest deposition of all of them.
Yeah, and I really thought she was a lot more forthcoming, but he had to pull it out of her too. She tried her hardest not to tell him
I think they were instructed to keep their mouth shut as much as possible.
Oh, for sure. I mean, she definitely was as honest as I think any of them were, but she tried really hard not to say anything negative about the department.
Larry Conrad's. Go ahead.
No, that's good. I was just going to say he had to pull it from her.
Yeah. Larry Conrad's deposition. Now, this one was in October. Obviously, here 18 days before the Hotbox incident began. And Larry Conrad, I want to see if it tells here. I'm not sure if it's got the. It doesn't matter. I represent Stephen. I'm going to ask questions today in involvement with the events back in '85 and maybe a few things after. Would you tell me what your occupation is presently? Answer, I retired from the Sheriff's Department and I operate a business now, my own, as sole proprietor. Yeah, this is what I was remembering. He actually retired and he had been with a department for, he retired with 25 years of service, but he said he had a total of 31 and a half years of law enforcement. So anyway, let's do a little search here for Mr. Allen and see what he has to say. I recall, let's see, can you tell me the best recollections of documents reviewed? I recall a cover letter sheet from a complaint from 1983. I believe it was where I can't think of his name now. And the law, and Kelly says Gregory Allen.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I can't recall it now. Right? That is funny. Answer: Greg Allen's name was listed as possibly being involved in the matter in North Carolina. There's a report attached to it. I reviewed briefly a transcript that I had completed with Stephen Avery regarding the Morse incident, and I reviewed a document that apparently was from the DOJ on our interview, or on my interview that I did with the two agents some time ago. Let's see, that's page 10. Let's see if we can get anything else before we move on here. I don't want to spend too much more time on this. Question: do you have any documents from when you were a detective at the Sheriff's Department that concerns either Gregory Allen or Stephen Avery on the PB matter? Answer: no. Okay, did you keep any press clippings about it? No. So basically, he's trying to pull information out of him. Question: a little while ago, you told us that you're familiar with Stephen Avery at the time of the assault on PB. You were also familiar with Gregory Allen at that time as well. Is that correct? Answer: yes. Question: okay, and your familiarity with Gregory Allen arose out of concern or out of certain things that occurred in the latter part of 1983. Is that right? Answer: I was familiar with his name, not him personally. I don't think I ever spoke to him. So let's move on. He's getting a little more history and trying to find out again what he knew.
What's Exhibit 142? Scroll down just a little. I'm curious.
Exhibit 142. I ask you to take a moment and
yeah.
just about the matter of 85. Okay. Have you seen Exhibit 142 before? Answer: no. And I go off the record. I'm not exact. I could probably scroll up to the top and find out what it may tell what it is.
Okay. Let's see what it say. Just scroll down. It's no big deal. I'm just curious.
Let's see if it tells here. 142 is the criminal complaint.
At the time, from John Silkman. Oh, well.
Okay.
So it's got to be something. It's probably the criminal complaint. I wonder if this is the assault on the beach that took place prior to Penny's assault.
It's possible that was a year prior. So, and it was about a mile away, if I'm remembering correctly. So,
yeah, probably.
Let's move on down and see if there's anything else. But yeah, that's where we're at right there. Okay. In the latter part of 83, did you ever have any conversation with John Juplin about Gregory Allen? Answer: not that I recall. Question: okay, did you have any conversation with Dennis Vogel about this case involving Gregory Allen that's represented in Exhibit 142? Answer: not that I recall. So yeah, that very well could be. I want to get my hands on those exhibits so bad because I want to know what there's so many of them, and I know that there's just a massive amount of information on them.
Do you want me to tell them what I did?
Please do.
I called Walt Kelly, really nice guy, but he's turned over all of his stuff to Kathleen Zellner. So that's promising. So at least she has what he had, and I know he had the goods. And also I shared with him what I had found out that we're fixing to share with y'all. Yep. And he was not surprised by it. So I believe he didn't acknowledge or deny, but I believe from his, because what he said was good. Maybe somebody will finally do something. That's what he said. And so that tells me that he had this information during these civil suit depositions, and that it probably would have been brought out in these as well.
Well, at least some of it. Part of it, he couldn't have had because it hadn't happened yet, right?
No, but I think right. But I think by the end of October, I think he had it. I believe he did. I don't have any proof of it, but just the way, and you know what? You're actually right. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he found out afterwards.
Oh, I wouldn't surprise me that he found out after, maybe a little bit later, because anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really too much more. Basically, again, and my whole spiel about getting into these depositions was to give a little more history about what the civil attorneys had done, knowing, I think they could tell they probably had a lot of reports that, again, we can't see. They're in these exhibits, they're police reports. I know at least that much. So they were aware of his history and what he had done. So anyway, before we move to this next section, is there any questions before we move on, Linda? Anyone?
Yeah, come on with it. I want to hear. I'm dying here.
We're trying to lay the foundation.
Yeah.
I have a solid foundation. Get on with it.
I think that's it on the depositions, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, okay. I only pulled up 3, so let me close that one out. 17 PDF files open. Let me close that one. This is the Dennis. This is the Dennis Vogel letter. I'll let you read it.
All right.
This is from 1986.
Yeah, this is from 1986. So it's important to understand that this is after the Penny Bernstein assault. So everyone knows that Gregory Allen did this and not Stephen Avery. Y'all some people may not believe that, but Manitowoc's not a big town, okay? Gregory Allen was doing all kinds of sick, perverted shit all over the place, all over Manitowoc County, and everybody was talking about it. We see it in the depositions. The girls are talking about it. The cops are talking about it. Gregory Allen.
And it wasn't just Manitowoc County. He was in other counties too. And these people talked. Okay. Go ahead.
We'll see that too. So Gregory Allen has already, prior to the Penny Bernstein assault, has been to the DA's office at least 3 times. Brenda Peterson testifies to that. So he has a relationship with Dennis Vogel, which allows him to hold court with him, even when he's under criminal complaint, which is unheard of. So he has the nerve to come to him and complain, knowing he's gotten away with the Penny Bernstein assault. Dennis Vogel, knowing he's gotten away with the Penny Bernstein assault. And Dennis Vogel pens a letter to 2 of the Manitowoc Police Department detectives who are trying to get this psychopath off the street, saying, hey, are you sure Gregory Allen did this offense? Now, mind you, a cop has ID'd him in this one. All right. So it's not like a witness is IDing him. It's a police officer who is saying that he witnessed Gregory Allen doing this crime. Are you sure it was him? Because Gregory Allen says he wears a certain type of shoe for his employment. And that's not the kind that was left at the crime scene. I mean, what the hell? Does Dennis Vogel just want the guy on the street assaulting females left and right, or what? It's crazy. So it's absolutely crazy that this man is defending a psychopathic, suspected murderer, serial sexual assaulter of women. It's insane that he is going to bat for him.
Can I make a comment?
Please do.
Yes.
You know what this reminds me of? J. Edgar Hoover denying the existence of the mafia. And you know why he denied the existence of the mafia? Because crime boss heads had photographs of him and his boyfriend in sexual acts. So they were blackmailing him. They were blackmailing J. Edgar Hoover.
Yep.
It's to me, I could be wrong, it seems to me that Gregory Allen had something over Vogel.
Well, not only Vogel. This goes a lot further, and you're going to see that.
I'm going to share with y'all something that a local shared with me. There is a gentleman who is gay, who was living with his partner in the early 80s. Now, in Manitowoc County in the early 80s, homosexuality was highly frowned upon. If you had a attraction to the same sex as a man, you went outside of county lines, like to Green Bay or Madison, and you did your business there. You didn't bring it to Manitowoc County. So somebody suggested that maybe he had like evidence of this gentleman's sexuality. But what's interesting is, now that I think about it, that gentleman and Dennis Vogel went to the same university. So perhaps Dennis Vogel was bisexual. That's
we definitely know he's got children, but it's possible.
It is possible. I know he's married because he's married to an attorney.
Yeah,
him and his wife are attorneys.
Well,
So-
I mean,
Go ahead,
I was going to say it has to be something of great significance, which can either embarrass or destroy the career of Vogel. It has to be something of magnitude, incredible magnitude.
Yeah, we just given what everyone's going to see. Beverly, can you mute? Really loud. Thank you. So we talked a minute ago about there being some kind of familiar relationship. That was just what I'm trying to say is, given his history and everything, and you're going to see it, everything that he got away with, literally got away with for so long.
It's still getting away with.
And still getting away with. It's absolutely insane. Anyway, I'm gonna move on to this.
Can I just say something?
Please.
Regarding Gregory Allen possibly having something on Vogel, didn't we have this exact situation on the staircase and Michael Peterson, who was married with kids, whatnot, and it turns out that he had a male lover. So it does happen.
Something, and we don't, I
we
just
don't know.
It's just hard to fathom as we go through this and you see everything that we have here, how the stars lined up for him so many times. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
But for Vogel to question another police officer and stick up for Gregory Allen, it's highly suspicious.
It is. All right, Christine, is this the one you want me to pull up next? Is this okay?
Let's do the Minnesota. Let's do it the way I found it. So let's go to the Minnesota DOC page first. Can we do that?
I'll try.
All right. I'm sorry. I mean, it doesn't matter. So basically, this is what happened. I forget why. Somebody said something, and I looked and found out that Gregory Allen is listed on the state of Minnesota DOC website. And I was like, huh? And so I got to looking. And if you go on that website, there's a little space where you can click and it will you can go to like the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension court records site, and it will give you
is that it right there?
Nope, that's Wisconsin. It's all right. Go back to what you had. That's fine. And it'll give you a brief summary. So you could see that the case was settled in, I want to say, when did he plead? He pled in April of 2008. So that got my attention really quick, because that's awful close to Stephen and Brendan's cases. So I knew that whatever he was charged with had to have happened prior to 1995, right? Because he's been in prison since 1995 for the Green Bay assault. Yep. And he had to have had a DNA cold hit in CODIS. And So that means that Minnesota and Wisconsin had to have a conversation, right? Because you got to get him from Wisconsin, Minnesota, to get him into court, because he has to go to court to get sentenced. So if you look on his movement page, which I've been obsessing over for months, anyone who's talked to me on MAMaholics knows that if we ever talk about anything to do with Gregory Allen, I'm like, why is this dude leaving prison so much? There is a period of time in 2007 to 2008 where he's in Minnesota, and he leaves Wisconsin in December of 2007. So that means they served his warrant. So when did Brendan get sentenced? In April of 2007, I think?
He was actually sentenced in August of 2007.
Okay, so Brendan got sentenced August of 2007. 4 months later, Gregory Allen's taking a ride to Minnesota and getting arrested on a cold DNA hit for a rape case.
But
go ahead.
Well, in the midst of this is another reason I wrote up the depositions. Now, remember the time frame that I brought that I showed the depositions.
Important. It is very important to recognize this. So,
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you can go ahead.
So I pulled up from the time frame also August, September, October time frame of 2005, right? Mm-hmm. What Christina found was that they drew the actual search warrant for Gregory Allen in September of 2005. But
September
they did
23rd, 2005. They drew up the arrest warrant, and they sat on it until after Stephen and Brendan were sentenced. And then they quietly served it, quietly shipped him to Minnesota, quietly gave him a sweetheart of a fucking deal, and quietly shipped him home. Not one peep in the media, nothing. Now think about that. If this would have hit in the middle of these depositions, that another woman, and it's not just one, but another woman had been assaulted by Gregory Allen while Stephen Avery is serving time for a case that both the DA and sheriff knew he didn't commit.
What if it had hit during what if it had during the depositions? What would that have done in the media? It would have blown up.
Oh yeah, it would have been. Manitowoc County never could have gotten control of it. So somehow they convinced these people not to serve the warrant. A month and a half later, Teresa Halbach goes missing. So Manitowoc County is not in the news anymore, right? Stephen Avery, Brendan Dassey, the narrative changes. Stephen's an evil fuck. He's corrupted Brendan. Blah, 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 blah. And here we are.
So they buried it. They buried this arrest for 24, so 27 months basically. They buried the search warrant until after the trials were over. Brendan and Stephen are shipped off to a prison, and then they go and serve it. And it's still kept quiet.
It's never in the media.
Nope.
All right, he's sentenced to, get this shit. It's a violent assault.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to we're going to get to that.
He's sentenced to 300 months, which is 26 years, right, Jax?
25.
25 years with credit for 3,000 days served.
Third of it.
So a third of it off the bat is done. It's running concurrent with his sentence in Wisconsin. He's already done his time for the Minnesota assault and is now sitting in Wisconsin serving out his probation for it. And he comes up for parole every 2 years.
So that sentence in this really, really violent, it's a first degree criminal sexual conduct in Minnesota. He basically gets 25 years. The max is 30. I looked it up for Minnesota. The max is 30. They give him 25. He gets 3,000 something days knocked off, which is the eighth of that right off the bat. and then he serves 8 years of it, and he's done. He's on probation for it, and he served his time. What do they say? Did I say consecutively?
No,
it's
currently.
It's concurrently.
He's running his time while he's doing his Wisconsin time.
Neck and neck. So
yes.
Yeah.
So every day he does in Wisconsin, he does a day in Minnesota too.
And Wisconsin authorities had to have known because they would have been approached by Minnesota authorities when they got this CODIS hit. They had to know.
Oh yeah. It's really, there's some shittiness in this Minnesota and what they did in the Minnesota case too, to the victim. But what was done to Stephen Avery by burying this and allowing the narrative to change. So if y'all don't think, or let me rephrase that, people need to recognize how powerful the people who want Stephen Avery in prison for life are. They were able to control this case in another state, right?
Well,
please don't serve that warrant now. Please
they asked for
that warrant now.
They asked for a favor and got it. I know how that worked out.
That's right. Please don't serve that warrant now. Just give me a little bit of time, please.
All right,
get rid of the civil suit. They put Stephen Avery in prison for life. They hope to God.
I got a question.
They hope to God the girls don't make the documentary.
I got a question here. Dude, where was he during this waiting period?
He was serving his prison time. He was sitting in Wisconsin.
He was in Wisconsin.
Well, then well, maybe they weren't doing him any favors. Maybe he was sitting there and there was something going on that in Minnesota or whatever, because it isn't, it's a state you got to be extradited to. Maybe there was, some kind of a court thing that made it wait that long. Maybe it was just quinky-dink.
Why?
Because courts take a long time.
We
don't know.
27.
It doesn't have to be nefarious.
Not when he's
just saying.
And
I don't know.
And you need to think about how quickly they get it off the docket. So he's brought.
But it's not getting it off the docket. If he's sitting there and they're waiting to serve a warrant, they have to wait. Yeah, I don't.
No,
I guess I'm losing it. I don't know.
So they served the warrant in December of 2007, really quietly, right? They sneak over there. They pick him up. They sneak him back to Minnesota.
That's what they do.
Their first appearance. And this is 3 felonies. Violent felonies now.
Okay.
They are. He goes to court. They do a speedy trial. He wants a jury trial. They bring him up. He wants a jury trial. You know why he wants a jury trial, right? Because he knows they don't want it in the news. So he knows if he says, I want a jury trial, they're going to give him a deal, right? So he says, I want a jury trial. I'm taking it to court, even though there's a DNA match. So they give him a sweetheart of a deal. Hold on.
Well, then, I just don't see what you're saying, I guess. I'll listen.
And back in Wisconsin in 4 months. That's unheard of.
I don't know about that.
No case gets processed that fucking fast when you're in jail. It just doesn't happen. Unless they don't want it to be known.
Right. But the bigger thing is But the bigger thing is drawing up this search warrant and then sitting on it.
Yes.
That's
no reason. Think about that. The victim is having to wait to get her justice. Right? They're making her wait for 2 fucking years.
Well, and she had already waited for how long? Well, we're going to get to that too.
1991. Yeah. No. This has everything to do with Stephen Avery and nothing to do with criminal court backlog.
Well, if this had hit the news, that Gregory Allen, his name came up he's got a first degree rape charge in Minnesota.
And
they wouldn't have come up in the news. That's what I'm trying to say. not everything gets reported here. Okay, so that's not unusual.
not there.
I'm missing a
Not
You
there.
don't think that a serial
No, I
rapist-
don't, Sue. No, I live here.
Article, she's not understanding what.
Right. I guess I just don't get it, because to me it sounds like, well, maybe there was a problem about getting him into court, or I don't know.
Let's read.
You're not covering up his crime.
Let's read what Gregory Allen.
I can't talk the same time you are.
Let's read what Gregory Allen was up to in Minnesota, shall we?
Okay, there's the Hopkins. This is the 7 or 9 page Hopkins police report.
No, pull up the Newsweek report. Remember we made a PDF out of that? That one, my friend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The one who's still waiting on her justice.
Yeah.
The one she sent me. Yeah.
I think that's way over here at the end. I think that's where I put it. Let's see. Nope. There it is, right there. I highlighted I highlighted this portion right here.
Okay.
So, yeah. Well, I just made a PDF out of the article. It basically says
written in 1994. So this is before Gregory Allen gets arrested in Green Bay. So you go ahead and read the highlighted portion. I'm like aggravated, so I need to breathe.
So, police in suburban Minneapolis say that same man, talking about Allen, was responsible for at least 20 rapes since 1975, all with the same MO. They've even had their key suspect, a 40-year-old former elementary school janitor, in custody several times, put tracking devices on his van and searched his home. Police say that the Oakdale something has been questioned in several window peeping incidents, which is his MO. They have not arrested him in the rapes because they don't have enough physical evidence. Newsweek won't name him because he hasn't been. Unfortunately, this happens. I cut that part off. But basically, they've been watching this guy, and there's a lot more to this. This is not, this is not just a one-off. There's more to the Gregory Allen story, and
I have spoke to a victim of his whose case has not been prosecuted. All right, he is a suspect in multiple assaults. They were writing about it all the time, about what to do to protect yourself. It's insane. Statute of limitations has expired on a lot of these cases. They barely made it in this one. And Gregory Allen, oh, you know what else you should pull up? Let's pull up his movements.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm going to. I just thought, since I was near this, I think this is the one you wanted to look at earlier, the DLC.
This is what started it off. This is what got me down this rabbit hole. I don't think y'all understand what Gregory Allen was doing and how many police departments were trying to catch him. And
they haven't seen it yet. They haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it is right. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to understand. So I'm just saying, I don't get it so far.
A man who has raped
a little confusing. Excuse me.
It's news.
One at a time, guys. One at a time. Go ahead, Linda.
I'm just saying, I know courts are slow. I'm just not seeing it right now. Maybe it's just, I'm just a little confused. Okay, I'm just confused.
Okay, this girl, this lady was raped in 91.
Okay.
They get a hit in CODIS in 2005, and it's Allen.
Okay, now you're talking Wisconsin, Minnesota, right?
Yeah, he's locked up.
Okay, Minnesota. All right. Yeah.
But this girl was raped in Minnesota years prior in 91.
Okay.
Allen did it, but of course they didn't know then. They didn't have any idea. They did. They do a CODIS hit, and it comes back to Allen in 2005. Of course, he's locked up in Wisconsin. In September of 2005, they write a search warrant, but they don't serve it on him. They wait.
Minnesota doesn't serve it on him.
That's right.
Right. Okay. Well, that to
This
me
is-
is not unusual because Minnesota and Wisconsin have issues. But
I-
I'm not
I-
saying you're not
yeah.
covering it up.
I want to say something too, but I don't want to aggravate anyone.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do. Yeah, I'm just trying to understand. I'm not trying to make nobody mad.
But Wisconsin does not have reciprocity with any of the states around it, which makes it hard to get somebody from here to go over there.
What'd she say?
Makes it hard.
So
And I
you're
understand he's a bad
saying
guy.
it took 2 years for them to get permission to take
No,
him
that's
across state
a little
lines?
ridiculous.
I,
2 years.
I don't know how long, but I do know it's a much bigger
It takes 30
rigmarole, and
It
it's
takes
not
30
necessary.
Yeah, we don't have
30
extradition,
days
whatever,
to
but
transfer from state to state.
Well, it's not extradition because it wouldn't be like that at all. And in Minnesota,
Wisconsin won't give up their people to Minnesota. You know, they don't feel they need to.
I'm sure
Is what
they
I'm
didn't
saying.
give Gregory Allen up.
Okay, but that's what I'm just trying to
Yeah.
understand. Is it months, or you're saying it was 2 years they held that? That's a long time. I agree, and I agree that he's a very vicious person. I'm just trying to understand the holding of Wisconsin and Minnesota. That's all I'm trying to understand.
it's 27 months they sat on it.
Okay, so he sat in jail there, and then when he got here and they did it, they gave him time for sitting there.
After it went to trial, or when they
They
went
gave
to
him
trial.
no time.
Well, no, they did. He got 300 months, but he was automatically credited for 3,000 and something days, which was a third of his
Wow.
sentence.
Okay, I'm understanding a little bit better now, I guess. Okay, so
He
Yeah.
basically, and he ended up serving 8 more years of that
Okay.
sentence. And as far as I know, he's on probation now. They let him
wow.
serve his sentence consecutively with
Oh,
because they shipped him
okay,
right back to Wisconsin. They shipped him right back to Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm catching on now. All right, sorry, I'm a little on the slow train.
That's okay. That's all right. Anyway, let's get into some of the history here. I want to make sure I get on the right page here.
Damn it, Jax.
I know. Well, I mean, there's a lot of pages. I mean, there's a huge amount of information on this guy.
I've been raising my hand for quite some time now.
I'm sorry. I'm not looking at. I apologize. I wasn't looking at.
Oh, rude.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I know. Go ahead.
Oh, rude. No, okay. So just rewinding just a hair to the significance of Gregory Allen meeting the prosecution. Is that significant? Is that significant here for the reasons of him like knowing people and Vogel's actions, or are we saying that's significant here because the prosecution is who is prosecuting him? Because it is not uncommon for a defendant to meet with a prosecutor to discuss options and possible plea bargaining and things like that. So I'm no thug or no convict, but I'm just saying in my experience, in my experiences with my little speeding tickets and whatnot and other things, every single time I have stepped in a courtroom, even the times I have represented myself for certain things, I had a meeting with the prosecutor.
Well, you have to look at Allen's history in Manitowoc and Manitowoc City. Of course, they were all over him, and no matter what Manitowoc County Sheriff's the Sheriff's Department says, they knew as well that they were watching this guy. So, in the time frame of 2000, or I'm sorry, 1983, 1984, 1985, they were watching this guy like a hawk, and they're not the only one. This comes up later. So, and then on top of that, these ladies and the officer, they knew about these various charges that Vogel or that Allen had been up against as well, and his MO and all these other things. Because they help, they're, I guess, legal secretaries, I guess, to some degree, or at least they see the paperwork. So they had to have known what this guy was doing.
Don't
a lot
forget,
of people did.
Vogel lied. He created a lie of an alibi for him.
Right, but I'm not talking about that excuse the train in the background. It's the country living. I'm just talking about the simple fact of a defendant meeting with a prosecutor.
Okay.
Like, I don't find that strange.
Let me explain to you my experience trying to meet with the district attorney for my daughter,
Different state,
underage, right? And hold on. Well, let me explain my experience first, please. So when you are under criminal charges, right, the DA is the person prosecuting. So they represent the state, the person who has been wronged, and they are coming after you, the person who wronged them. So anything you say to them can be used against you. So the first words they say to you is, ma'am, we can't speak to you. We have to speak to you in a court of law because we are prosecuting you for this crime. Or in my case, we are prosecuting your daughter for the half a joint we found in her car. So if you are under criminal indictment, anything you say can be used against you. So going to the DA and talking to him and having the DA write a letter advocating for you when they know you're a rapist is fucking weird.
I do know this one teeny little thing, and it happened to somebody I know here in Wisconsin, and they had a crime and they were getting ready to go to court, and they had to go to the DA's and get fingerprinted because they never wound up getting fingerprinted by the police. So they had to go have a meeting at the district attorney's to get the photograph taken and get their fingerprints.
And I agree with you, Christina. You can't go to the DA yourself, but you and your lawyer could, right?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
if they'll meet with you, I mean, they don't necessarily have to agree to do that, but yeah.
It also
like in a plea deal or whatever,
it also varies state by state because yes, in Texas, yes, you can go sit down with a DA. Yes, you can. You can go sit down with.
You say is going to be used against you.
That's irrelevant.
Not if you have a lawyer with you.
You don't have even if you don't have a lawyer with you. It doesn't matter if it's going to be held against you. Whatever. In where I live, if I wanted to go and I wanted to talk to a prosecutor about my options or whatever, I can walk into his office and I can talk to a prosecutor about my options.
Well, what makes this. This situation. For us regular people,
I'm not trying.
That's
to
right. That's what I'm saying. This situation is.
I'm just saying that I do know cases where I live that the crime. I have a very good friend who is a lead detective of sex crimes against children, and she talks to defendants she's not a prosecutor, but she sits down with defendants all the time with the prosecution, and they have conversations. It is a normal thing where I'm from, but I'm not from up there. So for up there, it may be weird.
No,
I just think
the DA is making up lies and trying to get people.
I'm not disagreeing with like writing the letter. That's like some Lynn Kaczynski stuff. I agree with you there. I'm just for a defendant to meet with a prosecutor, for me, it's not weird.
Well, given his history, I think it's just crazy that he would do that. But again, it's Allen. It's Allen.
Here's a really good question: who's the one writing these deals for him? Who's the one that's backing him, being his lawyer? Is that Vogel? Is it like a constant one person doing this, being dirty?
I don't know. That was my question.
Know enough of the story.
You don't,
like
because we haven't got to it yet, but we're going to.
Okay, and I'm just going to sit back and listen because I really feel like I'm kind of missing something.
Well, you have to understand. Consider, setting the stage here a little bit. Consider everything. Him coming up from North Carolina, he was a suspect in a homicide in North Carolina. He comes to Manitowoc and that region, and he immediately, I guess, within a very short amount of time, he starts making a name for himself as a peeping Tom, and he's going after these different young kids at bus stops and all this kind of stuff. But this is only, well, let's just move on. This guy's history.
Hold on.
JJ, one more comment from me. Just a little tidbit. Bill Cosby is a free man because he sat down and talked to the prosecution.
Well, he made a deal for the civil suit.
Right. I'm just saying.
Got a free
I'm
pass.
just saying.
Right. But that was so that woman could get justice because her case had been, the statute of limitations was up. So he got a 1-day free pass to confess his sins.
That's what I'm saying. This is a plea deal. Plea deals suck.
That's how she got her justice. The victim agreed to that.
I just don't see how, with everything that Allen did, I don't see how he got away with his life. He just kept getting deal after deal after deal after deal.
For Allen, there's no justice for victims here. Yeah. That's the problem. This man is. I don't think y'all realize what Gregory Allen is.
Yes,
let's
yeah, we get that, but when I say they're making deals, and deals are made even with bad people.
Isn't he in prison?
Why is Vogel defending him?
60 years.
Too.
Didn't he get 60 years?
Not in Manitowoc County.
No,
but I mean, like his overall sentence. I think
he's coming out for parole every 2 years.
Ultimately, he got that when he got caught. Later on, that was several years after the PB incident.
Like what year is he supposed to get out?
In 85 and not committed the rape in 95.
What year is he supposed to get out?
He comes up for parole every 2 years. I think he's out in 2030.
Okay, I think I saw that too. I think I saw 32 maybe.
Yeah.
He's up for parole every 2 years, but he's been denied every 2 years, right?
Well, he's only denied right now because they're trying to do the DNA match on the Donna Emmel case in North Carolina. Once they realize they can't get him for that, I bet you he'll get out.
I hope not, because the guy. He's pretty old now. He's 75. So I mean, even now, I still think he was yeah. He was born in 54.
Really? No, he's not 75. Oh yeah, he was born in 54. Yeah, he does.
Hold on. So he's that much older than Stephen, and they still passed off Stephen's face as his? Wow.
We've got a couple of answers in that. Hembury says, so long as both parties understand the conversation is without prejudice, you and admit to whatever you want for whatever the purpose of the conversation is, they can't use it against you.
That's Bill Cosby.
And then Cherie has put, in our area, someone with a minor traffic ticket can go to the DA and he or she might talk to you and offer a plea to an even more minor charge. Other than that, it is not a good idea, as we know. So I think maybe for different states, as we've been saying, different things happen in different states. And as I've said before, when it comes to Wisconsin, they make up their own laws and everything like that, and their own rules and everything like that as they bloody go along. So it doesn't surprise me that Gregory Allen, being the fiend that he is, that he's got people like Vogel and stuff like that sticking up for him when they're putting innocent men like Stephen Avery away just because they don't fucking like him. It's no right and it's no fair and it's disgusting.
Well, again, that goes back to, and don't want to get back off into this about the search warrant, being, they're going to arrest him in September of 2005. They don't do it. Nothing happens for 27 months till after everything's done, and then wham, it all gets taken care of. Then I don't know. I just smell a red herring.
Very, very quickly very quietly.
It's just privately. I don't know if it's secret, but it's certainly held quietly. So let's get into some of this history here. This goes back, I think, to his juvenile days and moving forward. Keep in mind that part of the information that Christina got, there was, I can't tell you which detective or which cop it was. They were tracking this guy. Okay. It wasn't just like in Minneapolis. This goes all over. Well, I'll say a good many states. So this
Half
is stuff.
the United States.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I guess. I don't think he was really out west much, but certainly in the Midwest and South.
I found in the Hopkins report he has an arrest in North Dakota too that's not on this. So they didn't all of them.
This is all stuff I think when he was a juvenile. Isn't that right, Justina? I'm scrolling through.
It's juvenile.
Yeah. Okay, so 72 incarcerated, 73 paroled from Minnesota Correctional Facility. 74 he entered the Marines from Baltimore. 74 sexual deviant charges, masturbating in front of small children. Nice, really good guy there. Newport, North Carolina. This is in 75. Looks like June 16th. Homicide suspect not charged. Strangulation of, and that's the minor. Drugs ? THC possible accomplice. 76. Havelock, North Carolina. Peeping Tom. August 76. Looks like Beaufort, North Carolina. I've been there. Felon possible of THC. Looks like some pot charges there. Moving forward, 76, October 28th. Sentenced to something for dealing THC. 18 to 24 months, North Carolina. 76. FT Hollenberg, discharged from the Marines. Yeah, Fort Hollenberg, that's right. Yep. Discharged from the Marines. Still 76. Unit or subject, I don't know what that means.
Unknown
Again,
where subject is living.
Yeah, they're tracking, they're trying to get a record of this guy where he's been. And it moves on up. That's, you see nothing there. 80, Manitowoc.
June meets blank. They don't stay together.
Yeah, this is interesting here. Go ahead, Christina.
So he first moves to Manitowoc in June of 1980. He meets his first child's mother, I believe. They don't stay together. In September, he's only in town for 3 months, and he's arrested for prowling.
But she gets pregnant. Is that right?
Well, she doesn't have her baby till 83, so not yet.
Okay, not yet. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so he's arrested for prowling. They plea it to a fine. Fall of 81, he reestablishes his relationship with her, the first child's mother. I think there's 2 women in Manitowoc that he would go back and forth with. So he's back with the first one. Let's see. I can't see it yet. You got to go down a little further.
It's coming.
Okay.
You see it?
Yep, I got it. December of 81, him and her moved to Minnesota. January of 1980, December to January, they moved to Minnesota. 1982, he is a suspect in assault in Minnesota, so they returned to Manitowoc. So this is what he's doing. He's committing a crime in one place and moving to another to escape the heat. So he does something and moves, does something and moves, and you'll see it.
Basically, we did a little timing thing. This is a rough estimate, but basically from Green Bay, I think, to Milwaukee, isn't it? It's like 4 hours. Isn't that what we figured up? 4.5?
Yeah.
Drive wise. It's not that far. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So 1982, he's a suspect in assault. Oh, okay, I already read that one. September of 82, he breaks his girlfriend's jaw. Autumn of 82, he has 2 incidents involving something, probably lewd and lascivious. No report available at this time. I'm trying to get a copy of that. I haven't heard back. He has his son in 83. April 26th, he writes some worthless checks and pays his fine. And he also gets a job at, is that where he moved? Weyerhaeusen? Yep.
Yes.
He's employed at Weyerhaeusen. And so his shift at Weyerhaeusen, I don't know if it's in here, if it's in the police reports, but it was a night shift. So his prowling, he worked like a split shift, like an 8 to 3 or something, 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. And then he would get off work and he'd prowl. That's when he'd do his peeping. So he gets his, this is the same beach Penny is assaulted on, August of 83. Indecent exposure. She was walking her dog. Her description of him is a chubby, flabby, 5'10", thinning hair, almost bald on top, mustache, dirty high top shoes, tank top, shorts, possibly boxers, no underwear. He covered his face with his tank top. He pulled down his pants and he masturbated. He lunged for her, but she ran. Victim works at Super America, which I believe is a grocery store. The suspect used
gas station.
It's a gas
Yeah,
station.
it's a Quick Mart like gas station.
Okay.
Okay. So the victim works at the gas station. She recognized him because he used to come in there. Her coworker knew who it was.
He was probably scoping her.
Well, you'll see it in the other assaults that it looks like he would fixate on him, and then a couple of days he'd follow him for a couple of days, and then he'd attack.
And also that using the shirt to cover his face up, that's his MO too.
Always, yep, he always covers his face with his shirt.
Yeah.
So the suspect resided in Green Bay. The victim moved to Green Bay within weeks of this incident, lived at blank. Suspect called victim's residence after incident. That's another MO of his. He loves to prank call them afterwards. And he says some really sick shit to them on the phone. Subject told Two Rivers Police Department detectives that his girlfriend was in hospital having a baby. Does subject have a child born in? Girlfriend is blank. Subject uncooperative with police. What's new?
Yeah.
August of 83, he's arrested for lewd and lascivious. He's issued a summons by Two Rivers. It says question mark 19 question mark jail.
Yeah, for 77 or I said 77. That's question mark. Yeah, correct.
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward.
But I think I think I've seen somewhere where he did. I know he did time in North Dakota, and I know he did some time in Minnesota. So that might have been for that. December of 83, info received from inmate, possible involvement in North Carolina homicide. He's released from jail sometime in 83. March of 84, there's a complaint of a suspicious person by an elderly female. He parked his vehicle and started walking. When he was located, he said he had a fight with his girlfriend. Later arrested for OAR, and I think that's operating without a valid auto registration, because I remember seeing that.
Maybe BB knows what OAR stands for.
Automobile, what is it called? Oh my god, I just had it in my
mind. Without registration?
No, it's when you're
mistaken, because that's OUI, right?
No, it's when you don't have a oh my gosh, I just totally went blank. I'm so sorry.
Well, if you think of it, we'll come back to it. It's fine.
Right, yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So April of 84.
June of 84.
June of 84.
There. Yeah.
Incident started at approximately 23:30 hours. 2 victims, 1 witness. 2 juvenile females were biking home. He passed them 4 times in his vehicle, turning around in driveways and taking side roads. This was about 9:30? 9:30 at night. Went to their house and the victims went to their house and was watching TV when they heard the tires squealing.
Okay,
23:30. Oh, go ahead.
It's operating after revocation, which means they don't have a license.
Oh, driving on.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And that's 23:30 is 11:30 at night.
11:30 at night. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'm waiting on it to pull up. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. I'll just read it. Observed as approaching a house on foot. Description of the subject: cut off shorts, shoulder length, light colored hair with baseball cap, 150, 160 pounds, tennis shoes, MO in front yard, looking at house, approached house. Then these turned on outside light. S ran to neighbor's house, but returned, walked between the houses, looked into the patio doors, said hi to the females through the open bedroom window, tried to gain entry to the house through the garage door, walked slowly away to the backyard to woods. Blank said she saw this subject in the yard June 6th, 1984, 1 week previous to this incident. So again, targeting. S walked to between the houses and looked in the patio. I guess that means subject. RO noticed. What's RO? RO.
Responding officer.
Okay. Noticed Blank and his vehicle leaving the area after talking to a convict as they went to
the victims.
Yeah, they went to his residence and arrested him for prowling. Unknown disposition. You can continue.
Okay, 1985. Female child born. So he had a son in 83 and a daughter in 85.
Right.
And I'm waiting for it. Let's see. Oh, it just went. Okay. January of 85, Thursday at 7:20 in the morning, there's a prowler call. Complainant is off duty. Officer Kevin Rockowitz at 7:20 a.m. Complainant recognizes suspect's vehicle in area and followed his footprints in the snow. Victim's residence has teenage daughter that suspect could have been observing through window. Suspect ID'd by Blank, who works in area. So that's January 24th. 2 days later, prowler window peeking 6:30 a.m. Complainant saw male with ski mask on between her yard and neighbor's yard. Suspect moved brick to stand on in order to see into neighbor's window. Complainant ID'd vehicle similar to one that suspect owns. Report not written. Info obtained later. So February 29th, a month later, prowler window peeking. Complaint, no report. Oh, that must be 129th. So 3 days later. Then 3 days after that, prowler window peeking. Complainant, no report. Above 4 incidents all appear to have occurred in the same neighborhood area. Also, all appear to have occurred near subject's place of employment. All appear to have occurred after subject working night shift, i.e. 6:30 a.m. to
7:30 a.m.
6:30 to 7:30.
Yeah.
Let's see. Subject arrested on February 20th. DA would not prosecute. Ordinance violation only. Referred to municipal court. Imagine that. March 12th. Not guilty plea in municipal court. April 16th. Charges dropped by city attorney. June 23rd of 85. In Manitowoc. Indecent exposure. June 26th, 3 days later, indecent exposure. Victim is sleeping on sofa, heard knocking on door, then screen door opening. Suspect had red t-shirt wrapped around his head. Victim could see eyes, nose, and mouth. Suspect is 5'10", 140 to 170, tan, no chest hair, uncertain of mustache, blue jeans. Responding officer stopped suspect in area wearing red t-shirt. He was riding a motorcycle, had a black leather jacket. Sound familiar? With a case of tape, same as next incident. Could not ID him. Next morning, victim found kitchen window had been removed. Also, 12 screws from a combination screen, storm, and bedroom were gone. And he's arrested with a screwdriver, if I remember right.
That's right. It's coming.
All right.
I only think this is a month before the PB. The PB. I don't remember what day the PB attack was on. It was
July
mid.
29th, 85.
So about a month. Okay, go ahead.
So June 26th of 85. The victim had just returned home and heard someone outside, saw a male in her vehicle wearing a red t-shirt and he left on a motorcycle. Responding officer stopped cycle, said he found 23 tapes in a brown case near a park. Tapes confiscated, nothing missing from complainant's vehicle. 1985, case at Prangway involving a knife. I don't know what that is.
I don't either. Nosy, can you mute?
Nosy, truth train.
Nosy, yeah, your 2D trade's really loud.
Damn, my bad. I didn't even know I was unmuted.
1985, July 14th, attempted rape. Subject description, totally nude. Bathing suit wrapped around his head, covering his face and hair completely. 5'8" to 5'10", approximately 180, slight pot belly, no odor, no alcohol, normal speech pattern, unknown chest hair. So that is, what was the date on that one again? July 15th?
That was July 14th. Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's 15 days before Penny's assault.
Yeah.
Possibly light-colored hair. Threatened with a knife, 4-inch blade, held to victim's throat. Victim woke up to find him straddling her and touching her. Ordered her to remove her clothes. She begged off. He asked, "Where's your sister?" Had victim lead him to door, refused front door. Suspect left residence in the nude. Victim waited, changed, and drove to her boyfriend's house to report the incident. Entry made by placing picnic bench below kitchen window and removing screen. Entry attempt at bedroom window also. Swimsuit that he had around his head was the victim's and was on the clothesline, was located one house away. 2:30 in the morning, neighbor heard suspect arrive on a motorcycle and coasting to area with engine off. Saw the suspect walk towards the victim's house. At 2:42, the neighbor saw suspect carrying the picnic bench between her house and victim's. Subject appeared to have been watching house. Winter of 84-85, victim saw male matching suspect's description in the backyard wearing an orange ski mask. Unknown date, father of victim notices picnic bench under window to girl's bedroom. May of 85, mother of victim noticed fingerprints on the windowsill of victim's bedroom. June of 85, 20-30 hours. Walking his dog, notices a male subject hide in bushes outside victim's residence. Saw motorcycle parked down the block. So he wanted her bad.
Oh, yeah.
And then, let's see, a few minutes later, saw cycle leave with no lights on. July of 85. Surveillance from 7:17 to 8:02:85.
Can I interrupt for a second? This is somebody watching him and recording what he's doing, correct?
Police.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep.
Varda at victim's residence. Vehicle observed on lakefront on 2 occasions. Subject spotted surveillance shootings. Vehicle in suspect's driveway registered to blank. Weyerhaeuser Company. Suspect's place of employment checked. Frequent absenteeism or leaving work early all correlate with dates of complaints on suspect. You know what? They don't list the Penny assault. Isn't that crazy?
Why didn't they nab him when he was at that person's window if they're watching him?
We don't know.
They couldn't ID him.
They couldn't ID. I don't give a fuck who you are. You're at somebody's window. You're not supposed to be there, bitch. You're going to jail.
They went to Dennis Vogel. This is why I keep harping on this fuckhead. They went to Dennis Vogel with
he wasn't
all of
the cop, is what I'm saying. That cop should have put him in.
I'm trying to explain it to you. They went to Dennis Vogel and presented all of this stuff to him and said, "Please help us get him off the street." And Dennis Vogel, it said there was nothing they could charge him with. He kept dropping the charges. He kept turning them into municipal court charges.
Okay, my problem is they didn't do anything while it's going on.
Yes, they did. They would hold him, but these are not. The DA is the one that has to make a charge for this. Do you understand? Because he's not actually.
What does he have to do? Go in and kill somebody before they bring him in? I mean, my God, he's at somebody's window.
Apparently.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The person watching him should not be allowing that. So that's kind of shady to me right there.
He didn't do anything while they were surveilling him.
Well, he was looking at somebody's fucking window.
He actually went to Dennis Vogel and complained about the surveillance. That's in one of the depositions.
Well, too bad for you. Shouldn't be looking in people's window, buddy. You should be arrested.
So I wonder if he went and complained about the surveillance, and that's the day they lost him, and that's the day he raped Penny. That's what I want to know.
Well, here's the thing. If they've been watching him, look at the dates. That's another thing that I've said in the past. They're watching him all these days in a row, and then all of a sudden on the day that this afternoon that Penny gets attacked, where did they go? Or had they stepped around the corner, they actually were watching him. And
they lost him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How did they just not see him that day? It's just crazy to me. Anyway.
They're surveilling the guy, and they're seeing these things happen, and they know he's a rapist. That's why they're watching him and keeping track on him. Correct? So
absolutely, they knew he was doing sketchy shit.
When he's doing this shady stuff, aren't they going? You're in violation. You are going to jail. I mean, I don't. That's wrong.
It's up to the prosecutor. I mean, ultimately.
Really? I mean, while it's going on, they have to call the prosecutor?
No.
They would hold him. They would take him to the jail, and they would say, hey, what do we charge him with? This is what we think he was doing. This is what we caught him doing. And
yeah, but it doesn't look like he went to jail doing any of these.
Instead of the DA saying, oh, this is a sick fuck, let's get him off the street, the DA would say, this isn't a chargeable offense, turn him loose.
Because they're not getting him at the time. It doesn't look like they're arresting him. Or am I missing? They did take him in on these?
Well, at least a few of them they did.
Okay. All right, then.
Anyway. October 85.
Green Bay is being very kind in their recreation of what Manitowoc County did in these cases. You should really read the Manitowoc Police Department reports. You sense their frustration because
this guy's getting away with murder. I mean, they're just letting them do whatever the fuck. They might as well not even have no surveillance on them. It's ridiculous.
They tried to get him. I mean, should they have done more? Could they have done more? Yeah, they could have took him behind a woodshed and put a bullet in his head and saved a lot of women a lot of heartache. Yes.
Or they could have arrested him while he was doing this creepy shit.
With the laws, the way they were written in Wisconsin at that time, they tried to get him off the street. The DAs kept giving him pass after pass after pass after pass. He didn't go to jail in Manitowoc County until he assaulted a cop. And it was an off-duty cop who was a security guard in a department store, and he got caught peeping in a dressing room. That's
what I'm seeing is that they're letting
Manitowoc County. Not for messing with women and children. He was allowed to do that all day. But don't put your hands on a cop. And he should have learned that lesson from Stephen Avery, because that's the only reason Stephen Avery did his time for the Penny Bernstein assault, because he messed with the cop's wife, right?
Oh, yeah. That doomed him right there.
Yeah.
That put a target on him. Anyway, October 85.
So, Prowler, 2 victims. Subject description, 30 years of age, 5'8", dark jacket, jeans, stocking cap, clean shaven, dark colored Buick or Olds, 2-door. Victim felt eyes watching them for a few weeks. Block of wood moved under bedroom window. Wood moved on previous occasions, 10-5-85, 10-11-85. 10/22/85. Now, mind y'all, this is 3 months after the Penny assault. And he, you know what I mean? And it didn't even satisfy him. Like, he had barely any cooling off period. And this is only in Manitowoc County because he's traveling everywhere too, right? So
Yeah.
October 22nd of 85. I don't know what that said. Oh, a prowler. It's all right. Go back. It's all right. It's just the time.
Sorry, can I just jump in now? Lancaster York in chat says, and what's the connection between the mother of his children, whose uncle was with MTSO?
Uncle of.
So Lancaster knows more about his Gregory Allen's children's mother than I do. I have heard rumors that her uncle was a police department detective. I know that I don't even think the assault that he had on her is listed in this Green Bay write-up. I know that he had a domestic violence assault with her that's in the DOJ or in the Gregory Allen file that I think is on StephenAveryCase.org. It's in one of them where she tried to go get her stuff and he assaulted her. But I don't think he was getting any free passes from Manitowoc Police Department, because after he broke her jaw, they knew what he was capable of doing to women. It's the DA that was all over him, or that was always letting him off the hook.
Okay, Prowler.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, Jack. Lancaster York says he was a deputy. Dale Greenwood is his name. His niece, Joanna Luttersky, is the mother of his children.
I wasn't going to name her, but yeah, she's deceased now, I believe. Isn't she, Lancaster? I think she passed away.
Did she?
Yeah. Is that the one whose jaw he broke? Because there was two. He would go back and forth between two of them.
He says she is deceased.
Mm-hmm, yeah. I know who that is. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you're here for this. So he was looking in a basement window. He stood on a lawn chair and looked in the first floor window. The responding officer saw him and ID'd him. Suspect ran from officer and eluded officer. This is the case that Dennis Vogel wrote the letter on. Victim had been taking a shower in basement of her home, then went to first floor wearing a small robe when she heard officer yell for suspect to stop. Victim worked part-time at bank where suspect had accounts. Suspect said his vehicle ran out of gas. Alibis of donut shop and 2 gas stations given. Blank from SA provided an alibi. Witness said that she observed subject around victim's house on 3 previous occasions. In early spring, February, or March. Witness ID'd him in photo lineup. No contest to disorderly conduct, maybe. 90 days sentence, imposed and stayed. Do you know what that means? That means he didn't even do a day. He got 2 years probation and a $250 fine plus court costs and counseling.
Right, but no jail time.
So, yeah. And impressive, huh?
Yeah.
That would have been Stephen Avery. Need I say more?
Exactly.
Vandalism vehicle in December of 81. Victim is blank. Suspect is blank. And that's in December of 85.
3 months later.
Mm-hmm.
March.
Yeah, I think that was Joanne's card. So he got fired from Weyerhaeuser in March of 86. In May, he's a suspicious person. In the end of May, Victim was asleep on sofa watching TV, woke up to turn off TV because she heard a noise, and suspect was standing in her living room. He told her not to scream or he would kill her. Subject description: 30s, medium height, rather muscular, mustache, fully clothed, wearing shoes, pocket t-shirt, no odors, including alcohol. He fondled and raped her. Subject knew victim had 2 children and that on Monday she had left the residence in a silver Cadillac heading towards Heel. Subject appeared to be familiar with interior of her house. That is so friggin' creepy. I could not imagine being that woman and having that man, some stranger.
He probably been creeping on her.
Oh, yeah. So, July 31st of 86, window peeker. Victim reports this is the 3rd consecutive night.
I got a big problem with them not doing something right away while they're surveilling them. I mean, I really do. Somebody's doing something because that's just not right.
Someone peeking in the window. Oh, me too. No ID. Only this is why they buried this shit. If just imagine if Greg.
Well, they didn't bury it; it's there, but they just let him get away with it.
Just imagine Gregory Allen and all of his antics had been on display while Stephen Avery's in the middle of his civil suit. Look at what Manitowoc County has allowed Gregory Allen to do. Not
exactly.
Yeah, it would have been devastating to the state of Wisconsin in their civil suit. And the jury would have, you know what I mean? Not only would the jury award Stephen all kinds of money, then you have all the women that Gregory Allen has assaulted.
That they've allowed him to do this to while this is going on. It's ridiculous.
Right. That Dennis Vogel and Tom Kasurik personally allowed Gregory Allen to do these things.
Yeah.
By putting Stephen Avery in prison wrongfully, they allowed probably 100 women.
They were allowing this for a long time. I mean, a long time, it seems like. This is just totally wrong. I mean, I've heard of people slipping between the lines, but this is ridiculous. They're watching him under surveillance.
Just wait.
It's crazy.
Yes. And every time they try and get a case together and bring it to the DA, he'd fucking just lowball it. Probation, a fine, dismissed. It's you don't do that with someone like this. You put him in jail.
No, not with a danger.
Every time he comes across your desk, you get him off the streets and you
protect. Yeah, he's a predator.
That's right.
Definitely a predator, and he's dangerous.
This is what they want you to think Stephen Avery is. This is what they want you to think Stephen Avery is. And Stephen Avery is nothing like this.
Oh, absolutely not.
No, this guy's a predator, no doubt.
I mean, even if you're building a case, you'd put this fucker in jail. I mean, you just take him and throw away the key. This guy is a predator. He's bad. I mean, I can't believe they're allowing him to do the things he's doing while they're watching him. I am totally shocked by that.
Here we are a year later here, July of 86, July 16th. Yep. Go ahead.
So he left work at Bay Shipbuilding in Sturgeon Bay, saying he was going to get arrested because his girlfriend left him. His girlfriend, Blank, contacted by phone, and she confirmed that there was a disagreement. She was informed of subject's comments, and she said she would leave her residence. Subject complained to his union that police are monitoring him. Monday, July 21st. Subject approached 2 females at a park swimming pool. Victims were his neighbors a year ago. He wanted to know if they told anyone he had exposed himself to neighborhood children. Suspect said that his girlfriend was angry with him after someone apparently told her that he had exposed himself. Monday at 1 o'clock. Theft, prowling, phone calls, victims. Motorcycle heard in area, victims were sunbathing. And he's got a thing for women in bathing suits, too.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. There's something about bathing suits that gets him going.
Well, yeah, Penny was in one, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And the victim before that walking her dog, I think, was too. Subject called on phone and said, and then remember the one he took her bathing suit off the line?
That's right.
Subject called on phone and said that he had stolen a bra from the clothesline. Subject called a second time and said that he was watching them. Detective notes that subject is active again due to argument with his girlfriend. So see, they know.
Absolutely, and I know.
They know. All right, so this is where he goes to jail finally. March of 86. Resisting, obstructing, no prosecute. Let's drop some more charges. Battery to police officer, felony. He's convicted in March of 87. Disorderly conduct, convicted. Criminal damage, convicted.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. He's acquitted of the disorderly conduct. He's sentenced to Dodge Correctional in March of 87. He's mandatory release July 25th of 89, and he's released. So he did like 26 months. I forget what he got.
For all that list you just said, he did 26 months? That whole list of stuff?
Yeah.
Well,
no, 26 months for hitting a cop.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
The
They'll
basically
put him in prison for that, but he can look at a woman, steal her underwear, get in her house, tell her, and rape her, and he gets to walk the street. That's a great system.
Himself to multiple teenage girls. Just peeping windows. Just he's a psychopath. All right, where are we at?
89 August of 89 Appleton ?
Yeah, so they think he was in Appleton in August of 89. In September of 89, he registers for parole in Green Bay, and it gives his address. He's working at Larson Canning, 3 a.m. to 2 p.m. In 1989, he's traveling with blank. DTR, I don't know what that is afraid of his eyes. Rock, Michigan, Montgomery, Alabama, Camden, Alabama, Linkville, Alabama, unknown address. Now, I want to say something real quick. We don't really have a good picture of Gregory Allen. If you look on the Hennepin County, we'll make sure to show it. I finally got a decent mugshot of him.
One we've never seen.
One we've never seen. I know why they say he's afraid of his eyes, because they are unbelievably piercing in a good photo. We'll show it. It is the most striking thing about him is the color of his eyes and how intense they are. Usually in psychopaths, they have that flat effect, like the eyes are.
He has very blue eyes, right?
No,
or
they're
green.
like green. They're like a
greenish.
They're like a hazel. They're like gold.
Yeah,
they're like gold.
Devil.
Yeah,
he is. It looks like they lost track of him here at 89 and 90.
Yep, they don't know where he is in 89. They don't know where he is in 90
until December.
Wait, he's supposed to be on like any probation, or he just gets he does his time and he goes.
Mm-hmm. So they found him in December of 90.
That's crazy. They don't even keep track of a sexual predator.
Yeah.
Well, they were keeping track, but not keeping track of them before. So what's the difference?
Yeah. He wasn't even convicted of a sex offense. So it's likely that. Well, there is a letter in the Green Bay police file, but from a parole officer, that she sent to the police departments about him, saying that he was likely a serial sexual offender, and that she would like for all officers in the area. I'll find it and we'll link it.
I've read that letter, and she was right.
Yeah, she's a female. He got a female probation officer, and she recognized him for what he was, and she tried to warn Green Bay cops.
That judge that said that to Stephen should have been saying this to him. You are the most dangerous person that has ever come across my courtroom. Because this guy is a straight psycho and should not be on the streets.
So this is what I was talking about. So he works for a traveling position throughout the southern states in winter and in Wisconsin during the summer. So they don't know where he is January, February, March of 91.
Yep.
He fails to report April, May, June of 91. That should have violated him. In July, maybe he reported. In August, he failed to report. In September, he failed to report. In September of 91, they issue a warrant for failure to report. In October of 91, they cancel it. Don't look at me. The victim in Minnesota was assaulted in this time frame.
Yes.
So that we need to remember that. So December of 90 to April of 93, he worked for Osmose Employment. December 14th of 93, he's arrested for prowling in Green Bay. Charges dropped by city attorney. Shocker.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? He knows someone in Wisconsin. I'm telling y'all. And it's someone that cops don't know about. That's my opinion. I have no proof of it. July of 95, Green Bay arrest, lewd and lascivious, pending in circuit court. August 31st of 95, he's ID'd by a fingerprint and a sex assault on June 27th. So not the July 9th charge, a different one. In July of 95, he serves papers for support on one of his kids. September of 93, employment at Steve Rise Coal. Employment is terminated October of 95. October 25th of 95, he's arrested in Green Bay. Second-degree sexual assault, burglary, bail jumping, lewd and lascivious, $25,000 cash bail. 11/12/95. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I'll send you that report.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, where's the ones?
Was Andy keeping reports here? It's lack of.
So I didn't clip the pages that showed there was here's the mugshot. There was a detective in Green Bay who was calling around to all these states, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, looking for unsolved sexual assaults. And he was on it for like a month straight. He was trying to link him to other cases, and then he just abruptly stopped. And you hear nothing.
They don't even look like him. Boy, he's young there, huh?
This is the sketch made by the Minnesota victim in 91.
Oh,
yep. Okay. Let me pull that. Let me get over to that.
Better than pencils.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the drawing of Stephen Avery that Gene Cush did, and it looks just like Stephen Avery. This looks like a victim is describing an assailant.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like Gregory, but I mean, the wideness of the face and stuff. But
try Hennepin, Jax. I think it says Hennepin County.
What are you looking for? This is the victim's report right here.
Yeah, no, I thought you were going to show the mugshot.
I did. You're talking about the actual photo.
Yeah, let's show the mugshot. This now, you got to remember, this is in 08 or 07, so he would be 53 when this was taken. If we can find it. I think it's under Hennepin, if you didn't change the name.
Summary of Hopkins, Hennepin. This might be it.
Yeah. Nope,
no, that's not it. The Hopkins one, maybe. There's so many.
Hopkins is in Hennepin County, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is the police report. That's the victim's statement.
No, this is not it.
No, it's
There's so many reports.
Yeah, that's not it either. It's going to be the arrest report. I think it's a 4-page report, and it has his mugshot.
Not that one. Let's see. That's one page. We just looked at that one. It's not that one.
Boy, if I can just comment, he's been going from Minnesota to Wisconsin to South Dakota, you said?
Well, he was Arrested in North Dakota.
North Dakota.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy has been like a traveling sex fiend, a pervert, and a danger to everyone. I just really am blown away by his record and lack of imprisonment.
Hold on a second. I'm going to open up another file here. I think I closed that one because we decided not to use it. Independent.
Mm-hmm.
We can look at it later. That's okay.
You guys, are there any questions? I mean, I've been asking back if there's any questions from.
Yeah, does anybody got any questions?
Hugh has a question. He says, was Gregory Allen on the loose around Manitowoc on November 7th, 05? Is there a social worker with a juvenile? There was a social worker with a juvenile at Manitowoc Sheriff's Office at 9:40.
This is an important report. He was out of custody on Halloween, I believe, of 05. Wasn't he? Was it Halloween or was it November 3rd? Does anybody know?
And Lancaster York wants to know. I want to know why he was peeping in the Yonda residence on Markham Street, 2 doors down from PB's place. What's the connection between the Yondas and Gregory Allen?
I wonder if the Yondas had a teenage daughter.
Don't know.
Yeah, he seemed to have a thing for petite women and teenage girls.
By the way, this is the 4-page report, and there's no photo with it.
Yeah,
Lancaster York says he was peeping the Yondas in October of 2005.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah. I thought it was in the big report.
They did have daughters. There was 3 of them, he says.
I'll find it. Hold on. Summary of top.
Is this the 90? This is the 91 report right here, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. No. This is the arrest. This is the complaint. This is the criminal complaint that they served him in prison.
Yeah.
Because he's in Waupun. So the date filed is, we're gonna have to read it, September 22nd of 2005. So Detective Raymond Laudenbach of the Hopkins Police Department has reviewed relevant police reports and believes that the following information establishes probable cause. On June 1st of 91, a known adult female, then known as Blank, was sexually assaulted in her Hopkins, Hennepin County home. 22-year-old Blank was sleeping in her bed at 2 a.m. in the morning when she was awoke by a hand being placed over her mouth and a knife from her own kitchen being placed on her throat. A man, unknown to her, was holding the knife. She asked him what he wanted, and he said he was there to get money for crack cocaine. He told her that once he saw how beautiful she was, he decided he wanted more than that. He took his shirt off and told her he wanted oral sex. Blank told him she would not do that. This was an M.O. and Penny's crime as well. Blank convinced the man to put the knife down. He began kissing her neck and telling her how beautiful she was. He touched her breasts and removed her pants and underwear. He climbed on top of her. He penetrated her. He repeatedly told her he was sorry they had to meet this way and not under different circumstances. He then left. What a sick dude. Investigation revealed that the man entered through a patio door that was unlocked. The knife was left near Blank's bed. Blank underwent a sexual examination which revealed the presence of semen. While a number of suspects were developed over the years, no one was identified as her assailant. I'm pretty sure she was on the second story.
Michael Ryan
Yeah.
said Gregory Allen supposedly knew the DA's brother, who ran a local music shop, was gay, and tried to keep it that quiet. Is that valid relationship for hiding Gregory Allen's guilt?
Well, Ziegelbauer, who is the county executive, is gay, and he's been with his husband or his partner since the early 80s. Now, I didn't know that his partner was the DA's brother. So is he saying
Well,
Ziegelbauer?
that might be why he's meeting with the DA, right?
Well, no,
Privately.
why the
Vogel's
DA
brother.
is letting him off. Yes. So is Michael saying that Ziegelbauer's partner is Dennis Vogel's brother?
Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody's Vogel's brother.
Yeah, as like Lancaster said, it was an open secret in Manitowoc. So I doubt that would be
the DA's brother, who ran a local music shop, was gay.
No, Bob Ziegelbauer, who is the county executive's family, owned that record shop for years, and it was sold to Bob Ziegelbauer's partner, romantic partner as well.
Mike Ryan says yes, Vogel's brother.
So Vogel's brother is Bob Ziegelbauer's partner, romantic partner.
Well, it sounds like. Yep.
Oh, well, that answered that question. But like Lancaster is saying, everybody already knew that. It just, because even somebody told me Jim Thiel, is that his name? The guy who took Farrak around? He used to like interrupt the county meetings trying to get Bob Ziegelbauer fired because he was a homosexual.
Lancaster York says, but I don't think Jimmy Vogel is Dennis's brother.
Yeah, I think Dennis only has a sister.
Yeah, I don't know their family history.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it looks like Dennis only has I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's one, it's him and his sister, but I might be wrong about that.
Yeah, Lancaster says that Bob's partner is not Dennis's brother.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Anyway.
Lancaster has done a lot of digging trying to find this connection as well.
Yeah, but what bothers me as well is, I mean, Gregory Allen's been on police stations, he's been lifted, he's been taken to jail, he would have had fingerprints and everything to get. So why are these people not getting hits on his fucking fingerprints?
Oh, here's the thing. It's not just Manitowoc that keeps giving him these breaks either. You'll see. I mean, it's... I mean, the fingerprints is what got him arrested in the Green Bay assault. What I can't understand is why they let him out, knowing he was a suspect, because they arrested him on one assault, but he was a suspect in 5 others that they didn't have any evidence to. The victim couldn't ID him because he covers his face, and he didn't ejaculate, so he didn't leave any semen, and they didn't leave any fingerprints. But he was a suspect in 5 other assaults in Green Bay that they couldn't link him to, but they knew it was him.
Yeah.
So, but they still let him out on bail for the one. It's crazy.
$25,000 bail, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how does a crackhead come up with $2,500?
Yeah, well, bail bondsman trusted him, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I would love to see who put up the money for him.
We don't have bail bondsmen here in Wisconsin.
It's hard to say then. No idea how you come up with the cash.
Wait a minute. You're saying you don't have bail bondsmen?
Not in Wisconsin. No. They don't.
So you bond out of jail, you pay the entire thing?
You get the fucking money and you pay them.
So
and then you get out.
Percent.
They don't do it.
$25,000 to get out is what you're saying.
Yes.
They don't do a percentage.
Hold on, I want to clarify. Hold on one second.
That's crazy.
I want to clarify. So if Gregory Allen's bond was $25,000, he would have had to come up with $25,000 to get out of jail.
Yes, there's no bail bondsman.
I want to know who's out of jail.
So that he could have been bonded out by his attorney if he had one.
I want to know who's writing a $25,000 bond for a crackhead rapist.
Well, there you go. Now you have a new rabbit hole.
Because I don't see anybody doing
Yeah,
that, especially a
it's
public
just like
defender.
it's just like here. If I got caught driving speeding, I can pay a ticket later. If you're here visiting and you get caught speeding, you have to come up with the cash right there. They take you right to the police station.
Hold on.
You have to come up with the cash to even get out of jail.
I have a question.
Yeah, that's all states.
I have a question before. No, it's not. I have a question
No,
before I
it's the
forget.
If I
Wisconsin
get a
thing.
ticket, if I'm a Florida driver in Texas and I get a speeding ticket, I have to pay it.
No, you do not. Not
No,
the day
No, I
of.
have to
no,
already.
it's a
Well,
Wisconsin thing.
Hello,
so,
hello,
some states are like that.
hello. In
What
Texas,
what's your question, Ozzy?
in Texas, your ticket will not even be registered into the system for 11 days. If you go up to the courthouse the day of, the next day, 3 to 5 days, your ticket does not exist in the system. You do not pay the ticket the day of. And then,
Mhm.
secondly, do you have any documentation on? I'm asking because I haven't been able to watch the whole live. I'm listening, but I haven't been able to see. So, do you have any documentation where Gregory Allen had a bail and he actually posted bail?
I haven't seen it other than just what we read in that other report, the history. $25,000, released on $25,000 bond.
And then
And what year was that $25,000 bond?
1995.
Yeah.
And we're positive that they did not.
You'd have to ask me.
We're positive they did not reduce that bond.
We're not. We don't know that.
No,
Okay.
we don't.
Okay.
It just
That
says
was my
post.
question.
Yeah, it just says posted $25,000 bond.
Well, I agree with Christina that that's a very interesting thing. If someone did put up the $25,000, I'm definitely curious as to who would have done that. But I'm wondering if that bond is under some record we haven't seen where it was reduced to zero. And if so, that's just as suspicious to me.
He didn't own any property, did he? That we're aware of, like a house or something that he could have.
A motorcycle.
Not to my knowledge.
But big God.
I doubt it.
I mean, a motorcycle can definitely be worth $25,000. So
yeah,
he's not registering his vehicles half the time because he's getting minor traffic offenses for that, for failure.
He's
to
driving after revocation.
Yeah,
so he's not gonna
doing anything by the book.
Well, that's definitely interesting to find out if someone did put up $25,000. I don't see that happening, but.
Yeah, neither do I. Not for that guy. No way.
Especially if his family's not around, he doesn't have family. I mean, he's got kids, but how old were his kids in 95? You know, would his ex-wife have put up
in 12
$25,000 for him? You know, I mean, like, it's going to be in a record. It'll be in a record
he
somewhere.
Was married?
A parent, a brother. I don't know.
A girlfriend.
I don't know where they got the money at. No idea. We'd have to. I'm not even sure that you can get that paperwork.
Somebody not on crack.
Yes, you can. I mean, I know at least in my state, yes, you can.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Bond papers.
Well, I don't know about in 95. The thing is in Wisconsin, it's really hard to get anything prior to okay, for sure you're not going to get anything past 80 or before 80 unless you're really lucky. I got some records from the 70s, but I don't know how since
here's
County.
My thing too with that, to go with you, Christina. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to forget. You know, I got short-term memory loss. If you guys in Wisconsin, not you, Christina, but if Wisconsin does not have bail, that means that if he bonded out on $25,000, that means it's going to be in a court record, because it's not just going to be like a random person walked in. Like, it's going to be in a court record, especially if y'all don't have bail bondsmen.
And it wasn't paying a fine, so it was
right.
To that record.
Back when he goes to court, because he went to court
It should be on that docket at the very
Yeah.
end of that docket. If he got out of jail, it should be on the very end of that docket.
Exactly. It's always there what you posted bail, even if you get the money back.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find anything on Gregory Allen in the court systems online.
Has anyone ever FOIA'd his jailhouse calls from back then and now?
They're not going to have them. I mean,
No.
I can try, but
They-
they're not.
They wouldn't.
They would have them now, like the current ones.
Yeah, no. I don't think anybody really seeking truth for good was on his trail, for sure. She laid the foundation. Let me just give her mad props for that, because she was on his trail. And there have been others who have been on his trail as well.
It seems he slips through the cracks an awful lot.
He does.
Yeah.
There's no way this guy should have not been in prison long before he
Micah.
I've heard of that before. There's a lot of bad people that slip through the things, but not being watched, not having this kind of evidence, and these many crimes. This is very crazy to me.
So
Let me reiterate that he should have been in prison as of July 29th, 1985 for the Penny Burton assault.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
100%.
And Dennis Vogel and Tom Kasurik lied and did everything that they did to make sure that Stephen Avery went to prison for this crime.
So my question,
remained free. They didn't even bother to go fit him up and get him off the street, knowing what he did to Penny.
What's your question, Ozzy?
Well, it's kind of like a question / statement. Christina Michael Ryan agrees with you, by the way. So I feel like this is non-relevant to like Stephen and Brendan getting free. However, Stephen settled when he was accused of Teresa's murder, right? He settled in the civil suit because he had to pay Dean and Jerry. Oh my God, I said their names correctly.
You did.
I did. I didn't say Gene and Derry or something, whatever. Anyways, so just like with his criminal case, in a civil case that he, I guess, settled with, if new information such as like this, if you were to be able to factually prove a lot of this stuff, would that be an avenue for Stephen to further pursue like an additional civil suit? You know?
We don't know. I mean,
I know he's going to have a civil suit outside of this conviction, but reverting back to the 85 conviction, if, you know, we whoever discover all this, is that an avenue for him to reopen that initial civil suit?
If they prove that they set him up in 2005 to get rid of the 85 suit, the 85 case is back in play.
It would have to be.
It has to be, because the only reason he settled is they win, right? So if it is proven that they set him up in this case, at minimum set him up in this case to get rid of their lawsuit in 85 and to get him to settle, then yeah, the 85 case and all this shit is right back in play.
That's why I wanted all these exhibits that, you know, were with the, you know, we read about the depositions and, you know, they're putting out these exhibits and we don't have them. Like, you know, I talked to Banana Man numerous times. Man, I want those exhibits. And it's like, yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
I personally wish it was more relevant to their freedom now, but I do see the relevance in looking at the departments as a whole and their willingness and history of corruption and how far they're willing to go. Like, I think that alone, if someone were to actually turn it into like internal affairs or whoever the
it adds to the rest of the story. It has to.
Right. I agree.
So
but also not only Gregory Allen, but if we were to cherry pick like that, like over the years, how many other cases are there in the system that are just like, maybe not like as in depth as these cases, but like other guys that are in prison because of these guys?
And that's what they were afraid of. Open the floodgate.
Yeah. Well, we know that Vogel had a case in the early 80s that got him on 60 Minutes. And if you read the newspaper clippings, their excuses for why they look so corrupt is the same excuses they're making for making a murderer. All right. I don't know the name. Lancaster knows the name. Maybe he'll mention it. We know that case. The Pamela Claflin case, which Randall Matea was convicted of in '94, Dr. Silkman looked at some of it, and that it is reasonable with what we see that Randall Matea may be guilty of that crime. But I'm telling you, they paid a prison snitch and dropped 4 of his charges, and he's the guy who testified against him and the reason he went to prison. There was no forensic evidence in that case whatsoever. So it's very likely that he could be innocent as well. So I know of 2 right there. And I want to stress that if these people are powerful enough to control the charging of a case until after they get done with their shit, what else are they powerful enough to do?
What about the Ben Bennett? What about the Ben Bennett case? There's another one.
Yeah, there you go. The Ben Bennett case as well. I mean, you have to recognize that Teresa's disappearance and the change of the narrative that allowed, right? The making of Stephen Avery a suspect, the making of Stephen Avery into a murderer was such a windfall for Manitowoc County and the state of
the other ones that had a win out of it. No one else.
Yes, they're the only people who profited from her death.
That's right.
They are the only people who profited for her death. What were they willing to do to make this lawsuit go away? You have to ask yourself that question.
I have from the beginning. I just, I know a lot of people don't necessarily agree with my opinion, and it's just my opinion, and I don't expect anyone else to follow what I say or what I believe. But personally, I don't see them killing someone, but I do see them doing other things that maybe not as bad as murder. I don't know, but I think they were willing. I think they were willing to do whatever it took to stop the depositions. I think it was going to happen, and this fell in their lap. That's what I think. I know other people.
Don't think twice. Yep, they don't think twice about letting a prolific rapist run around.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Ruining multiple women's lives. They don't think twice about taking a 16-year-old kid who's never done anything wrong in his life and stealing his whole life from him to satisfy their goal. That's
the very reason why they'll never let him out.
It's not precious to these guys.
It's interesting here.
It doesn't affect them. They don't care.
There's 2 counts here of criminal sexual conduct, but one of them gets dropped. And I don't understand that. Is this the one? Yeah, I know it's the one. They dropped the second one. He also had a burglary.
They dropped that, and they dropped the burglary.
They dropped the burglary as well. Mm-hmm. And I don't really understand that.
What did he keep? Nothing?
No, he kept the first criminal sexual conduct. Okay. The first one stayed. Yeah, but the second one they dropped, and the burglary they dropped as well.
Yeah, that's just the plea deal and bullshit. We know how that goes. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
I just don't get how they could. This guy's a danger, man. I'm surprised he didn't kill people. Seriously.
Well,
maybe he did. We don't know.
Well, he's a suspect in a murder in North Carolina. Don't forget that. And I was reading these police reports out of the Green Bay report, and there was some inmates in there who were talking about what Gregory Allen was saying to them, and we thought for a while that he didn't frequent prostitutes or ladies of the night, right? But he did. he said to a prison informant that he would trade cocaine for sexual favors. And we know that Manitowoc County doesn't think a lot about women to begin with. So I imagine that women of the night or streetwalkers, they really don't think much of. So they're not going to go and complain if they're getting assaulted. And nobody's going to report them missing. So he very well could have murdered women all over the United States in the 80s, the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Well, we see this escalation as we read through these here. If you notice, you saw this escalating stuff out of him, at least of what was reported. And as Christina said, we don't know what got by and was never reported at all.
I mean, the Green Bay reports are really weird because the cop was on his trail. He's calling police departments and waiting for calls back, and then it just ceases and desists. It's like somebody told him to stop digging.
Are we done with this report here? I'm going to close it. You done with it, or you want to read the rest of it?
I'm done with it.
Okay.
Okay, I want you to go to the one that has the not return of service, not that one. It's got like 5 pages in it, and I think it's labeled the case from June of 91 to 2005. Because I do want to point out one thing on that. It's not that one.
I think we read through that. That's the history there. We read through that one.
Yeah, here, scroll down though, because this is his movement. Oh, it's all right. Keep going. It's not that one. That's
the mug shot. This is the big report. This is with her statement.
It's called.
This is the supplemental report.
Okay, that's it. I think. No, that's her statement. That's not it. Okay, that's it right there. Now scroll down. So this is after they worked the case and they couldn't figure out they couldn't ID him. And then the victim. All right, is this it?
I don't know. I haven't looked up enough to have them memorized.
All right. Okay. So this is where they think there's 2 cases that may have the same guy. You can go through this one. They have a similar description in the composite.
Yep. I'll read some of it here. Blank in St. Louis Park. I'm starting in the second paragraph. He had recalled a composite drawing that we had displayed previously and felt possibly that it could be related to either one of these 2 cases. The composites in these 2 cases have a similar description. Officer Cornick advised that he is going to be doing a search warrant on this matter and wanted our material present during the search warrant. I faxed him the beginning stages of the investigation and also 2 composite drawings we have with each one of these case files. It should be noted that Hopkins Police Department has 2 contacts with blank case, and she gives the case numbers. One is a warrant arrest. The other is a damage to property where he is a suspect in an incident involving a female's car. Investigation pending. Blank search warrant. And then it goes on the afternoon of 1494, I had a conversation with Officer Jim Cornick of the Orono Police Department. He stated that he had done a search warrant on the subject previously named. They had solved the ATM credit card fraud for the department and also several burglaries for the St. Louis Park Police Department. They had also secured a confession concerning those crimes in those cities. There's some more blanked out there. I can't read it. Officer Cornick stated that blank did not admit to any involvement in either of these 2 cases in Hopkins. They also did not recover any of the incriminating evidence in the search warrant of his address. Both cases will be turned back to inactive files. Now, if there's something more in here that you want. Yeah, this is just more. This is
Keep going.
Keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
So basically, they keep pulling it out, trying to make it match. All right. Now, January, May, you can go down. So this is they do a lineup.
Can I ask you some? Michael Ryan is asking when the these documents will be in the library. A couple days, or I don't know how you're doing that.
Well, it's really up to Zoe.
Okay.
That's entirely up to her. Usually she's pretty quick about getting on. As soon as she gets them in the library and gives me the link, then I'll update the description and the video. Usually a day, 2 at most.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
All right. So this is interesting because in June of '95, I attended the Hennepin County Investigators meeting at the Minnetonka City Hall. There I met with Special Agent Stephanie Good of the BCA. She inquired whether or not I had submitted the specimen samples in the blank assault case to the BCA to do a DNA against blank. Agent Good informed me that they now have DNA on him. Now think about it, because they got it from the assault he did in Green Bay. And returning to the police department, I dug out the case file, and I did not believe that the DNA had been submitted. Officer Minweisen located the sex assault kit in the evidence room refrigerator. I then took custody of that and placed it in the temporary property refrigerator. I spoke with Christy Ward, CIA or criminal intelligence analyst for the BCA. She stated I could deliver the assault kit to the BCA facility on the morning of June 9th. On June 9th, Minweisen and I delivered the kit to the BCA and met with James Dougherty and Christy Ward. Analyst Ward gave me a timeline of the suspect blank case awaiting analysis by the BCA.
It was June 9th, 1995.
Yep.
I have a couple questions.
Please.
Are you done? Okay. Lancaster York, number 1, he said, do you know what it was excuse me, God, I can't read tonight. Did he know that it was the home of Tom Yonda's parents, or was it coincidental that he was stalking the Bernstein residence? And number 2 is, was Penny Bernstein's father-in-law the former chair of the Manitowoc Police and Fire Commission a target of some sort?
So this is interesting. Penny Bernstein's father-in-law was the chief of the Police and Fire Commission board. Now, I only know this because of Lancaster. Lancaster is the one that showed me the evidence of this. Now, he fired Tom Kosurik's brother Dick, Richard Kosurik. Richard Kosurik had a sketchy history. He looked like a really bad cop. He had gotten in a bad wreck. He was like speeding, wrecked into another car, and hurt the people in the other car pretty bad. I think he got off on that one, but then did something else, and Penny Bernstein's father-in-law had him resign. He ended up dying at 34. It's possible, but it's hard to say. Would Tom Kosurik have a prolific rapist rape the daughter-in-law of a man if he felt that would give him vengeance for his dead brother? Is he that sick and sadistic? Who knows? It's possible.
Okay, number 3 from Lancaster York. Allen's landlord was the county coroner. Allen had a canny ability to track his victims, even calling them at home. Did he have inside track on certain information? And
that's a damn good question.
And number 4, Allen was in the Marines, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation. I do not know that.
No, he did not know that. But yeah. So back in the 60s and 70s, when juvenile men would get in trouble, they used to give them the choice, right? Military or prison.
Deferment to the military, yes.
Military or prison. And so I likely think that because Gregory Allen had already done prison time as a juvenile in Minnesota, I likely think he probably chose the military the second time he got in trouble.
Minnesota was very big on that. Very big. Yeah. My friends did that. Okay, and Michael Ryan says, wasn't his brother's death suspicious? I would assume he's talking about Gregory Allen.
No, he's talking about Dick Kusurik, I bet.
Oh, okay.
The sheriff's brother. And I don't know anything about that. I would love more information. Please find me on Reddit, Sunshine, or go to our Discord channel and DM me. Sunshine Christina on Reddit, Sunshine061973. Please. I would love to hear all about it. And so would everybody else. So if you want to tell us in the chat, you can do that too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't even know he had. I didn't know he had a brother. I didn't know he had a brother that died. I did not know that.
I mean, I linked Discord. You can come on in and talk right in here.
Yeah, you can talk right now, or you can talk in Discord, or you can talk on Reddit. You can talk wherever you want.
Either way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Doc, you've been awfully quiet, taking all this in, just kind of sitting back and.
Well, yes, I have been taking them back. I mean, to me, there are greater questions. I mean, there's no question that Gregory Allen was an extremely dangerous individual. The concern for me is that he appeared to have been a protected species. There were, in my opinion, people in high up positions that kept on giving him free passes or diminishing the level of his crimes. There had to be some purpose and reasoning behind this. Now, this all dovetails back very much to the civil lawsuit, Stephen's civil lawsuit, because there's no doubt that Kelly and Glynn were, and I agree with what Sunshine Christine and everybody else has been saying, there's no question in my mind that Kelly and Glynn were preparing a mountain of evidence that they were going to dump on Kusurik and Vogel.
Yep.
And so they were building all this momentum. And then to think that their own client, Stephen Avery, would kill Teresa Horbach just before the big fish were going to be fried is mind-blowing, right?
It's mad.
You could not have written, no one could have written a script like this. But it goes to show the seeds of 2005 started in 1985, right? And Kelly and Glynn were putting it all together as one massive cover-up, conspiracy, corruption, and it was going to fall on the heads of Kusurik and Vogel and potentially others. Now, you know, we're reading all the stuff on Gregory Allen. Hey, look, absolutely someone had to have known that this guy was committing all these crimes. And, you know, I reckon Detective Bergner, he would have been the internal whistleblower because he went to Kusurik and he laid it out to him. Hey, look, I think you've got the wrong guy, right? But I am sure that Kelly and Glynn likely spoke with Bergner in a confidential manner or someone else from the department and basically laid it all out. So therefore, Kelly and Glynn had a roadmap of what happened, the critical events, right? So they were just building up this incredible case of corruption, conspiracy, etc., etc. The only thing that could stop it was for Stephen Avery to be committed or convicted of a serious, serious crime, and he was. So my jaw keeps on dropping to the ground that, thank God, the Making a Murderer producers were able to bring elements of that to the public light. Because, you know, looking at those depositions, oh my God.
Yep.
Just wait. But here's the bizarre thing. This is going to blow your mind. What about Tom Fallon? What was his specialty? his specialty was going after sexual predators. And here, right under their freaking noses, was one of the most notorious sexual predators on the loose during their watch. And nothing happened for a very long period of time. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, even understanding that, the different states, handle things different ways. And I get what BB's saying, and everyone else actually, just because, that, Minnesota got a hit on Allen, he's sitting in the Wisconsin prison, that something didn't happen immediately. However, I still think that chances are the day or within a day or two of it being found out, there would have been a phone call made to someone in Wisconsin. They would have known.
Yeah, and I reckon that certain individuals had enough, right? Because they kept on seeing Gregory Allen walk in and walk out with a slap on the wrist, right? And you've got this ridiculous surveillance of Gregory Allen. You've got this constant complaints of his sexual behavior, and absolutely nothing was going down, right? So there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect in that in any other ordinary citizen who are doing these things would have immediately been apprehended. Look what happened with Sandra Morris and her complaint, right? She said, I saw Stephen Avery come out. He was masturbating. He was doing this. It's the exact MO of Gregory Allen. I'm not saying it was him, but that's exactly what he was doing.
I think it was. I really do.
Right. But the police acted upon it. They acted upon it. And Stephen Avery was so pissed off with his cousin that he did that stupid thing by running her off the road and with a shotgun, right?
Yeah.
But you could see how devastating an allegation like that was, i.e., you're doing all these sexual things. It'll destroy you in the community. Yet, nothing happened in a serious manner with Gregory Allen. So to me, there's a massive disconnect with anybody else in society and Gregory Allen, right? And it's like he had to literally be caught in the act before the authorities would act. The guy is a complete scumbag. Oh, and somebody asked what Tom Fallon, Norm Gunn did. Norm Gunn was the biological expert on DNA.
Yeah, he was the DNA prosecutor. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to just sit here. I mean, it just feels like we're again, something surrounding this case. We're missing this chunk of, we don't know what it is. But this guy got away with so much stuff. Oh my God, he got away with.
Yeah, so the important thing here, and Sunshine Christina said it too, is we have to understand the chronology and the mere factor that some warrant was kept quiet during the time that Stephen Avery was going through his trial. That speaks volumes, because what did Ken Kratz actually say during the trial? He goes, Stephen Avery obtained some notoriety about his 2003 exoneration, but whatever happened in 1985 and exoneration's got nothing to do with this case.
Yeah,
I
right.
call bullshit. It's got everything to do with 2005. And now that we're learning all the things that Gregory Allen was doing, you can see that the powers that be had to keep everything quiet, right? Because otherwise, potentially, the attorneys could be saying, that's the scumbag that the sheriff and the DA let loose for 10 extra years, right? There you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. September of 2005, when they prepared this warrant for Gregory Allen sitting in prison in Wisconsin, and here's Avery, sitting there with Jody and during these depositions, and nothing's done for 27 months. Nothing. I just roll my eyes at that one.
Lancaster, York says first prosecutor in the U.S. to successfully use DNA to prosecute a case. Fallon. Gone. I don't know which one he's talking about, but
Fallon.
Fallon, okay.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I didn't either. He's full of all kinds of awesome knowledge, isn't he?
Yes, he does. I did not know that.
Yeah, but to me, and I didn't know that either, but to me, that goes to show how much of a dickhead he was during the Stephen Avery trial.
Oh, my God.
Because he provided the safety net for Cherie Culhane. And, you know, that's why I really blow up at Giltis trying to defend Culhane's admittance of Ida Meffel with the backing and blessing of Norm Garn, who should have known a hell of a lot better than what he portrayed.
Absolutely.
You're speaking from experience 100.
Yeah, it's very annoying. Very annoying.
Silkman said a bad word, but I agree.
Well, we blame that on BB. Silkman never cussed. Silkman never cussed until he met BB.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's what I heard.
I not to let his hair down.
He said a bad word. Okay.
Oh, he said some really good things too. He knows them all now.
You know how to quiet nosy. Just damn Dr. Silk say a bad word.
I've graduated. This case has changed. This case has changed me for the worse, I think.
But, you know, going back to the depositions, I mean, Stephen was there, I'm guessing, pretty much at everyone that they had. He had to have seen how well they were doing and how much on their hind legs that the county was getting, because the depositions went terrible. I mean, in my opinion, they went terrible for the county. Terrible.
Do you see where it's even worse? Do you see what date it was signed? It was, look at the page you have on the screen right now. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, 5/5/2/5. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was signed. So that's when they knew about it. They knew about it right after the deposition started.
May 2nd.
Because you know they were in contact before they went to Wisconsin to swear out the warrant.
If they found a match and found him in the system, I'm sure they were. I mean,
yeah. So because we'll see the match. If you go back up, the match was made in '99. If you go back up a page, because the victim calls January 4th of 2005, she calls the victim's advocate in Hennepin County, and so she emails the detective that has the case. That detective pulls the case file and sees that a match was made to Gregory Allen in '99. All right, so Hennepin County knew Gregory Allen was the culprit for 6 years. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. The detective on the case knew it, and he took it upon himself. This is my opinion. He took it upon himself to see that Gregory Allen was in prison, so he just buried it. Right? He just said, oh, he's not getting out, and he just didn't deal with it anymore. He was likely at the end of retirement or something like that. Well, so 6 years later, the victim calls saying, hey, I just saw a guy on the news get caught on a cold hit on a DNA case. I was wondering if that could happen in mine. So the detective pulls the file, sees that the hit was made 6 years previous. So he calls the detective that sat on it, and that detective says that if he recalls, he called the victim, and the victim said that she didn't want to prosecute because he was already in prison. Well, in my opinion, she's not going to forget she did that and then call back 6 years later wanting to know if they finally caught her rapist.
Not likely.
No, not happening. So January 5th is when, and I thought that needed to be mentioned as well, because it shows that.
You mean May 5th?
Or, well, it says 1505, right? That's when she called it in. On April 27th, he called Dodge County.
Yeah.
And
okay.
then he arrives, and then a week later, he arrives in Juneau.
Yeah.
Meets with a detective. So we know by that date, the DOJ is involved. By April of 2005, the DOJ is involved in this, right? DC, they are. because, you know, everybody knows that Stephen Avery's out and he's in the middle of suing them, right? Because it's all over the newspapers. So somehow they meet, they swear out this warrant, they get back to Minnesota, and then they sit on it until 2007. So it's even longer than we thought.
It is longer.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's even worse. It's still bad. I mean, it is worse. So
it's insane, is what it is.
I just don't know. I just don't know enough about the process to say how that could have happened. What's the disconnect for there been to that long of a delay?
They just said it would be better for the state of Wisconsin. I want to know what they told the victim.
Yeah, that would be interesting to find out.
That's what I want to know. And we're not going to find out her name because it's redacted.
Sure.
Maybe she'll see this video and message us and let us know how they blew her off for 2 years. Because she obviously wanted justice. And how do you put off having a trial for someone when you know where they are? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know enough about these intrastate process between something like this happens. I just don't know.
The ones that I've seen, they're in
it's not unusual. I've heard about it a lot, especially between Minnesota and Wisconsin. It really is.
Yeah,
but I don't know about that extended amount of time.
That's a long time.
It's okay.
That's way too long.
So is this just another coincidence?
I think that. Well, see, I mean, the timing is what really bothers me because the civil dispositions were going on, and I just don't know. I just get this really bad feeling. I can't prove it, but there it is.
Lottery day for the state of Wisconsin? I don't think so.
Well, and Stephen's sitting there, and here we are in September that we're talking about. Let's just say it was September. He's sitting there thinking, this lawsuit's going pretty good. I think I'll go kill someone and dismember them and burn them up. Really? I don't think so. No. Sorry, no. Plus, he had the other money. Go ahead, Doc.
I was going to say, but there's two points here. One, who was powerful enough to control the narrative, right? Because you've got all these obvious crimes being taken place by Gregory Allen. You've got Vogel, who's basically dismissing or diminishing the severity of the crimes. You've got Gregory Allen back on the streets, continuously doing his activities. You've got law enforcement going to Kasserich and saying, hey, I think you've got the wrong guy. You've got people in Vogel's department going to him saying, I think you've got the wrong guy because we keep on seeing Gregory Allen come in here all the time and, oh, boy, et cetera, et cetera. So all the evidence was there. All the suggestions were there. My question is, who was powerful enough to control this narrative, to prevent the blowback? Who was controlling it?
I mean, to me, it had to come from the AG's office or even higher. Who was the AG in 2005? Wasn't that Van Hollen?
I thought it was Lautenschlager.
Yeah, that's right. I'm thinking about later. Sorry, I'm thinking about 2009. Yeah,
right. And
it was Peg.
And it was Peg L who whitewashed what happened in 1985.
Yep.
So it was all complete self-serving, right? It's the fox in charge of the hen house. So therefore, you could remember when the journalist stuck a microphone and camera in Kasserich's face. He had a smile on his face. He had a smile. I was, we didn't mean to harm anyone. He was the logical suspect at the time. If you've ever seen a cold-blooded psychopath, there he was right there on camera. Unbelievable.
No doubt.
I think about him working with the Boys and Girls Club or whatever organization it is. I think it's the Boys and Girls Club of Manitowoc County. And I am petrified for the children that he is playing in their minds. What is he doing to them? I think about that because that's one sick man. He is sick. Not only did he set Stephen Avery up for a crime he didn't commit, him and Vogel let Allen just keep doing this. You know, I mean, if you really think Stephen Avery's that bad of a guy that he needs to go to prison, all right, whatever. I mean, I don't agree with it. But don't you recognize how dangerous Gregory Allen is? And don't you want to protect the citizens? I mean, Penny Bernstein was Kusuric's neighbor. He had to look at what Gregory Allen did to her face for weeks until she healed. And yet he didn't bother making sure that he didn't do that to another woman. It's insane.
Yes. Yeah, 100% agree. But we have to what I cannot work out still is what was the motive of keeping Gregory Allen out on the streets and pinning it on Stephen Avery. What did Stephen Avery do to attract the immediate attention of Kusurik? Right?
Yeah, that means Sandra Morris. And that's the thing with the Randall Matea case. He robbed a judge's house as a teenager. They think they're untouchable, and they think that if you mess with them, it's like mafia mentality. It really is.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Any more comments, questions?
I was just going to say, Jax, that's what my opinion is as well, is what would be the motive. And the only thing that I can come up with is that Stephen was young. He was what, 19, between 19 and 22, you know. So every young lad between 19 and 22 think they're Mr. Know-Alls when they actually know fuck all. You know what I mean? Yeah. But he's probably been a cocky little shit, and he's just got up the police backs that much that they're like, right, we need to get rid of that little shit. And then that's when it all started. And then with the cousin coming forward and doing what she done, and her husband being a police officer, that was the gate opening, in my opinion, you know, for them to go after Stephen and to keep going after Stephen. And in my opinion, as I said from the beginning, they thought, well, DNA got him off the first time, so DNA, we're going to make sure DNA gets him the fucking second time so that it can't be denied. And that's what they've done.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was probably, without knowing for sure, it almost seemed like there was more bad blood. There were rumors that, we read, again, rumors that there were issues with Allen Sr. and the county, and Kusurik did not like the contracts that Avery Salvage Yard had with towing and that sort of kind of thing. And, you just don't know what all else could have added to that on top of that. This thing, I mean, country living, rural life, whatever was, Sandra Morris was going around saying in these bars and whatnot. I still think that it was Gregory Allen that was doing whatever in front of her. That's my opinion. Can't prove it. But he was operating in the area. We know he was in the area. And this is the kind of thing he would do. So whatever, her doing what she did and saying it about Steve, no, that wasn't right. Because she, maybe she thought it was, but I guess she liked to drink a little bit, whatever. I'm not saying she was an alcoholic, but nonetheless, going around these different bars and saying what she was saying, I'm sure it did make him off, but he should have never done what he did. So I'm sure it did put him kind of on the radar of the sheriff and the others. But I think the overreaction was just, I don't know, it just almost seemed like there was more to it than just that.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure whether I read it in one of the depositions, but there was a statement that Vogel thought the assault of Stephen Avery on his cousin Sandra Morris, was sexually motivated.
Yeah, I remember reading that. They tried to bring that component. Yeah,
there you go. There you go. Which immediately puts him in the spotlight for the sexual assault on Penny Bernstein. So it's an excuse, right? Even though no sexual assault took place, because Stephen let his cousin go because he saw the little baby in the car. Now, mind you, Stephen deserved jail time for what he did.
Oh, absolutely.
No question about it. Yep. But for Vogel to go one step beyond by speculating the motivation, there you go. That gives them an excuse for pinning it on Stephen rather than digging further and looking at Gregory Allen.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen was, he was mad as hell, and felt like he had to have his say. And like I said, he saw the kid, and he let her go. There was no way there was a sexual component. He was, everything I read, it read directly. He was just mad as hell and lost his temper, did something stupid. So, Sunshine, but we're pushing. Well, we're over 3 hours. And I'll look through the rest of these documents here. I don't know where that mugshot, which one that mugshot's in.
I don't know.
Let me close.
Hold on. I'll try and find it and send it to you in Discord real quick.
Yeah, I'm going to start closing some of these out so I can clear the screen here. I know what I got. Yeah, we can close that one. This is the offender detail. I don't know if I think that was just one page. Yeah, it was. Yeah, here's some offender detail. We didn't really look through all. This is the movement. I don't think we really looked through this. This right here is, to me, is weird. Christina had mentioned this to me about all these moves that he made out to facility, some kind of supervised living facility. I really don't understand that. This guy's a monster, and they're putting him out to some kind of supervised living area.
The only honest, legitimate thing I can think of is, and it really doesn't work because Brendan doesn't do this, and he's also a registered sex offender, would be if they have him going to like a psychiatric facility to have him like interviewed to see if the reprogramming has worked.
Maybe.
Or something.
Maybe.
That's the only legitimate thing I can think for why he leaves so often.
I don't know. That's 2014. Back to Stanley Correctional. Then he gets again on the 11/11. 5 days later, he gets moved to New Libsyn. I don't know. There's just a lot of moving here. That's just kind of strange. Now he did stay here to stretch.
Yeah. And seeing it's always for like 5 or 6 days. It's like he's getting a little mini vacation every couple of years.
Something. I don't know. It's just odd. I don't know what that. I'm not intelligent enough to speak intelligently about what they're doing, so it's just odd to me. The Minnesota. Yeah, I think we looked at this. Yeah, we did. There's nothing there. I don't know which one that mugshot's in. We've got so many new ones. That's the history. We looked at that. That history is interesting. The mugshot. Jean Cachet would be proud.
If we can find it, it's on the 4th page of whatever document it is. Oh, I know how to find it real quick. Hold on.
And you can tell this right here is an actual drawing and not a tracing. And whoever did this is really good. Then this is the long report. I looked at that. It's not in there. This is the one we just looked at. We're done with that. And we took care of this in the beginning. And then this is Vogel's statement. So you tell me which one it is. I'll pop it up there before we get out of here. If you can find it. If you can't, then
I'm looking real quick. Hold on. That's the police report. Hennepin County report. I think I got it. Hold on.
And I know it was one of the first ones we looked at, and I saw
Yeah.
that. You said, look at that mugshot, and I'm like, whoa.
All right, I got it. All right, so
Just DM it to me. Just DM it to me. Yeah.
and copy link. That's where I got it from, was your messages. I couldn't find it in my own drive. I just went back to where I'd sent it to you. All right, it's that one. It's on the
Okay.
last page.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. I think it's clear from this that Gregory Allen has favor in Wisconsin. I don't know how else to say it, but he is like damn near untouchable.
Well,
Yes,
he's slippery.
Yeah, yes, he is in prison, but they were looking at him for 5 assaults. He only got sentenced on 1. We know of 20 in Minnesota, just in Hennepin County, that he's a suspect in. 5 in Green Bay. There's 5 in Manitowoc. There's an unsolved murder. There's 2 other murders that he mentions. I believe it's 2 other murders that he mentions to criminal informants when he's in Green Bay waiting on trial. And then you have all of these assaults he likely committed while he was doing power plant shutdowns going around the United States. I mean, hundreds. I think it's very likely this man has assaulted 100 women in his life, if not more.
I think I got it. That should have opened it up. You said it's the last page. Yeah, there we go.
His eyes are just unbelievable.
I'll kind of blow that up there a little bit. Yeah, they're definitely different. And he definitely looks different than that older mugshot. Of course, he's aged. Prison ages a person considerably.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Good deal.
So does being president.
No doubt. All right.
He has very piercing eyes.
No doubt. Okay. Is there any other news we need to cover? Anything else anybody's got that we need to talk about before we scoot out of here? We're over 3 hours. Actually, we got done quicker than I thought we would, considering the amount of information. Yep.
I'm going to throw a plug for Jeff.
Please.
Jeff Jones tomorrow. He's doing his After Dark at I think 6:00 tomorrow.
If he's got his schedule, throw a link in the chat.
I don't have it right now.
Oh.
I can grab it, but I can grab it really quick. But yeah, he's doing Tuesdays and Thursdays After Dark. It's really not After Dark for us over here, but yeah. And he's pretty interesting. Yep, Zapper will be there, and
I mean, for him, he's in Hawaii, so it's like noon for him, and 10:00 for us. I'm kidding.
Yeah, but yeah, he's doing good things over there. So it'd be come on over and check him out tomorrow at 6:00. I'm sure you'll see it in the YouTube. It's
Absolutely.
Jeff Jones, and yeah, pretty good new presence and voice on the scene.
Yep, some good conversation earlier, last night, and then one earlier today about Brian Laundrie and Gabby. The news. Did I lose you? I'm still here.
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't get at the mic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Great conversation. It's always interesting. We're talking about Gabby Petito case, and we talk about other things. He's going to talk about the Appalachian killers and smiley face thing tomorrow. Smiley face killers. So yeah, it's
and the river killer.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. The river killers. I couldn't.
Yeah,
never
that. Doc. That's another Wisconsin thing. There's eight kids have died in 7 years or something of that nature down at this river.
God.
Yeah. Is that What city is that in, or county? What the Waikiki?
Lacrosse.
Lacrosse, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah. I will grab you a link right from here because I can't seem to find it right now.
I don't know that there's a serial killer or some kind of sadist or whatever. That's well, I mean, the whole premise around this that I'm talking about, these river killers, these kids. It's a college town, I guess, and these kids they go and drink a lot. I mean, a lot. And but apparently, it's after these nights of binging that these kids, a kid per year seemed like disappears. And the news went down there. This news reporter, trying to talk to these kids about, what are you doing, and that kind of thing about the drinking and so forth. And aren't you worried about the river killer and all that? And I don't know that that's what's going on, or if they're just simply accidents. These kids going and drowning themselves. I don't know. But it's an interesting case. I'm glad he's doing something with it. Yeah, he's doing a really good job. He's doing really well.
Yeah. Thank you, Alice.
Yeah, really like Joe. Wish him the best.
Yeah.
Any other news? Anything else we want to plug before we get out of here, Alice? I know you're coming along, and you'll let us know when you're ready.
It's nice to see some new faces in here.
It is.
Thank you very much for coming and all your help. And feel free to join in on the Discord. You can get in on these conversations. We get into it.
I see the Gov's in chat. What the hell?
Yeah.
Well, way to go, Gov.
Yeah, Governor.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing new for me, Jax. Just still fighting with my computer. So
well, don't let it kick your ass. All I got to tell you.
Don't let the polys get it.
Well, I got to tell you, I got to take 15 seconds here and thank Christina for staying at this, because a lot of this has been really difficult for her to get, and she's made some other contacts that we didn't talk about that maybe at some point they can be brought out, and maybe not. We just don't know yet. But it's not just you seeing her or finding out that she sent open records request. It's more than that. It's actually a lot more than that.
He digs.
Yeah. Well, and then there's other things that she's been doing too, and trying to get information to take the next step into some other areas, whether it's tied to this case or to the Avery Dassey case. That's it probably isn't, but it's still interesting. Whether we cover it here in an open mic, which it would be a good format to do. I'm fine with it. I think it's really interesting, especially if it concerns Gregory Allen. And I don't. Christina, do we know anything about the North Dakota case at all?
I know he did time for it. I really didn't get to go through the Hopkins file that much.
Okay.
Mentioned in there. I think it might have been a burglary. So most likely it was probably attempted sexual assault that was pled down. That's my guess. We'll see what kind of files they have and try and get them. I mean, that's how long it came to. I know that he also did time in Minnesota he did several stints as a juvenile, because we see it redacted on the movement sheet when they were tracking him. And that's a key sign to a psychopath, sociopathic personality, is they start young, right?
I just wonder what he did. I mean, I just wonder what he, what I'm saying? I just wonder what he did, and it would be interesting. And
it was probably stealing, and it was probably fires, because that's what they all do. And those are the things that are going to get them in trouble.
It would be interesting, in these other conversations you may be having, if that could be found out. And I don't really like digging into some teenagers past, but to see where this began, you know what I'm saying?
There's there's a possibility we may get that information, but I mean, if not, I don't know. What would be great would be to find someone close to Gregory Allen growing up. That would be amazing. So
yes,
if you're out there listening to this video, please get a hold of me. You can remain anonymous. if you want, but I would love to hear what Gregory Allen was like as a child.
Where it started.
Yes.
How it started, why it started. I think that his story is probably one that would, that a lot of people would like to read about.
Yeah. Agreed.
Sean Henry says, is Gregory Allen still alive? Yes.
He is.
As Kathleen Zellner reached out to him.
That I can't answer. It's hard to say if she sent her investigators to talk to him or she's tried to make contact. I don't know that.
Gregory Allen does not confess. He doesn't. He's not ever going to admit his sins ever. No. He's
the man is deeply sick.
He's like Ted Bundy. He'll
threaded right through every fiber.
Yeah, that's right.
He is very sick.
One of the things that he kept saying that it's in the police reports that the women always wanted it. He traded crack for sex. Crack for sex. That's how he explained these sexual assaults.
And justified.
Well, he did admit to Penny Bernstein because that's how they knew that he had claimed that one.
I have a theory about that. That I believe. I don't think he did. I personally don't think it. I think what happened is because Stephen's case was very active in the appeals court at that time, and they had a lot of law students working on it. And I think one of the law students knew it was Gregory Allen and heard he got arrested. And I think they likely called Manitowoc pretending to be a cop, saying Gregory Allen had confessed, trying to get Stephen out of trouble. I don't think Gregory Allen confessed. He may have, but there's no record of it. And why would it not be in the report in some fashion? And he never confessed to any of the prison snitches for any of it. He never confessed any of his crimes ever. He's never confessed.
No, he's one of those that keeps his mouth shut, but that's probably something he learned when he was young, I'm guessing.
Yep.
All right. Anything else before we take off? We're good? Got anything else?
Jax.
Yep. Well, thank Christina. She's the one that did the.
You didn't want me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I was going to say thank you, Christina, for all your invested time and research, and I'm getting it, I guess. I just didn't get it at first, but I got, you know what I mean? But, and thank you, everybody. Thank you all for being here.
Yeah, I apologize if I got frustrated.
No, I was frustrated. I didn't know.
What's going on? I mean, for us, we've been looking at this. We've been looking at this for several days, knowing, what they had done and so for you guys, it's like new and like.
And it's a lot of information to try to get into your brain.
It's a huge amount of information.
Yeah. Next time, let us in on the deal, man. Come on.
Anyway.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. And I just want to say it's a team effort. If it wasn't for Disco, I wouldn't even be here. She's the one that begged me to get on Discord to begin with. So
there you go.
And I'm so glad I'm here. I enjoy.
Well, we're glad you're here too.
We're at.
I love the
wonderful addition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, everyone. Thanks for everyone in chat that came and helped continue to support and move forward and continue our knowledge of the case. We will be back next time. This has been a Foul Play production.